This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Biotropic Labs. Biotropic Labs is a company that makes its own natural and healthy custom formulated sports supplements. I tried them out. Paul has also tried them. We both like how we feel on them. It dramatically and positively improved our performance, allowing us to train and work out at a much higher level and with much more endurance. His products are built around a blood support and oxygen delivery. To learn more about their products, please visit them on the web at biotropiclabs.com. At checkout, use the promo code UNION10 to receive 10% off your order. Your order is also backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, zero-risk purchase. Again, that's biotropiclabs.com. Use the promo code UNION10 at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
This episode of the Grappler Union podcast is brought to you by BJJ Tees. Go to bjjtees.com, enter the promo code Grappler Union, and save 10% off all your jiu-jitsu apparel. Go to bjjtees.com today.
This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Strychnine Jiu-Jitsu, makers of vintage-inspired tees, hoodies, and rash guards. Go to strychnine.co, that's STRYCH9.co, and use the promo code UNION at checkout to receive 20% off your online order.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Grappler Union podcast. Paul Maloney alongside Anthony Zito. On this episode, we have Seth Daniels and Team No Sleep in studio. Seth is an Easton BJJ brown belt, and he's the owner of Fight to Win Productions. Also in studio is Brit Elkin. Brit's a brown belt under Compound Training Center. Missy Estrada, who's a blue belt under Travis Took. And Joel Harvey, who's a white belt under Robert Wunderlich. Enjoy.
I hate the 6 minutes. That's what happens in that 6 minutes.
You told me using any technique that works, never to limit myself to one style. Open mind.
We're not here to take part, we're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
All right, we're live.
Sweet. Team No Sleep is what they call you guys, right? So you just got off the flight from Midway. The show's tomorrow night. So what happens on day one?
First day, we just get in, we set up weigh-ins and do the seating arrangement for the following day.
Mm-hmm. So really, you're just here for weigh-ins on the first day? There is no, like, when do you set up all the tables and chairs? And
it depends. It depends on the venue. Sometimes we do it in 2 days. Sometimes we do it in 1 day. So sometimes when the weigh-in's going on, we're building at the same time.
It just comes down to how much the venue is going to charge us for a day before setup, to be honest with you. So this venue is super expensive. And so in order to get out of here without making our staff go on the street and beg for money to break even, we have to do a same-day setup, which is really difficult because it really gives you like zero chance for error. So like last time we were here, the first time we were here in Chicago, the motherfuckers kicked us out of the venue and we had to do the show outside in the parking lot, right, which was awesome. And we found out about that the day before, so that was cool. And then the last time we were here, we went to the one in Villa Park that we're at tomorrow, which I like a lot. It's one of the nicer venues that we use in the country, and it's just super expensive. It's a super expensive place, so it just makes more sense to do it same day.
So the first card in Chicago, why did they kick you out of the venue?
Well, we were teamed up. I don't want to say teamed up. We were. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say partner.
Somebody else got the venue for us, and they didn't check on it thoroughly.
So yeah, Chris Carlino from AGF,
my best friend.
Yeah, they booked the venue, and we were working with them in a fashion last year to where we were trying to do they were doing a tournament on Saturday, and we were trying to get huge arenas, and then we would take half of it and do it Friday night or Saturday, and then they would take the rest so we could split the cost of these massive arenas. Right. Well, when we first started doing it, especially in the very beginning when we first started working with them, they didn't understand, or he did understand and didn't relay the size of our production, which is like a mini WWE. So we require a lot of power. We got 20,000 pounds of equipment, and the place we were at was this crappy place in Illinois. What was it called?
Linwood. It's in Linwood.
Yes,
Linwood, yeah, that
that
was.
place sucked. And the floor was like 6 inches off the ground. It was like a really cheap floating floor.
Okay.
Like you would find like in a really crappy part of town in a place that couldn't afford a real basketball court. So that's where we were essentially. And like literally rolling any of our stuff onto that stage, it would have split it.
Yeah.
So we were driving because we drive the equipment up here. So we left from Denver at that time. So we didn't have a show the week before that one. So we had to drive all the way across the country. And I was like an hour from my house, and the lady called me and was like, yeah, we're not going to be able to host your event because my production manager was trying to, call ahead of time, make sure we have all the shit taken care of that we need to. And she like freaked out about it. And so our lawyer bullied him into letting us do the show in the parking lot, and we had to turn the entire place into an arena.
And we went to that show.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
actually pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
cool.
I was
It was
pretty proud
fun.
of us. That was really tough on us. It was really tough on us to pull that off, just because we never had to do that before. Even though the majority of us have a pretty large background in production, So, sorry,
No worries.
So we have a pretty large background in production. So I knew we could do it. So I really wasn't that stressed out, but it was still stressful to try to pull that off. And then,
Well, then how do you? Because you're on Flow. Do you pre-record these? 'Cause
No.
it's live.
It's live. We do
so
all
you had
of
to
it.
pipe in from the parking lot. Then everything, right? 'Cause
we did
where'd
it
you-
from.
Where'd you get all that from?
A hotspot.
Damn.
From an antenna from a car or something like that. I don't know. We do all of it. Flow
Yeah.
doesn't do anything
Flow
except
doesn't
give
help
us
you
a
at all.
link.
At all. Okay,
No.
they just tell you here. This is where you uplink it to,
Yes.
and then you got to make it happen.
We do everything.
Wow.
When it comes to so that's like when people bitch about Flow or something, they're literally talking about us, because all that they do is, sometimes their servers go down and that is their fault.
Yeah.
But usually when there's a mistake, it's on us.
Okay.
It's not them.
Oh, okay.
So whenever it's good, it's on us, and whenever it's bad, it's on us usually too.
Yes.
Which it usually comes from the internet connection, to be honest with you. Like a lot of times we get in places and we just have to figure things out a lot of times, because we don't know. You don't know until you go somewhere.
Right.
Like last week, the motherfuckers were like, yeah, we got 10 or 20 megabyte upload speed, and we get there and it was like 1.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, so we're going to stream it off a hotspot, and then we have 3 different hotspots. We have to figure out, all right, which hotspot is best in this city.
Right.
What's going to work best? What's going to upload best? And then
What do you find speed wise? What's the best for you for upload?
Minimum 10.
That's all you need. I
Yeah.
would think you need minimum 100 meg would be.
No, fuck, no.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
we'd be
10.
broke.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's kind
Yeah.
of.
There's one time we had like a dedicated T1, and that was like the best thing we ever had.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, me either.
You can tell there's certain things that I do with this company, and there's certain things that I don't, and knowing that stuff's not one
So
of them.
what role do each of you guys play? Like, what's your role?
So let's start
in
with
that
Missy.
company?
We'll go down the line here.
I think it'd be easier if the other people describe
What they do?
the person's job of the other person.
like
sure,
that.
go ahead.
So the people that aren't here, there's Troy, who is kind of like my right-hand man. Or actually, he's more like everybody's right-hand man. He does everything that we ask him to do. He doesn't really have like a certain job except running the locker rooms. And then there's Evan, and he's our transgender person in our bunch.
We're
And,
very loyal to transgender Evan.
Yeah, and he does the lighting, and then Gary and Natalie do the video production and the overhead lighting. Joel builds a video wall and is Evan's assistant. Evan's not really transgender; he just looks like he is. He looks like Negasonic Teenage Warhead from Deadpool. And then Brittany is the muscle, so Brittany handles our parking.
Brittany
makes
just
our
got her
muscles.
brown belt yesterday, right?
And customer
Nice.
complaints, and gets hit on by venue staff. Generally, 60-plus-year-old men
Yes.
that like to take her out or want to take her out on
Nice.
dates.
They all
That's-
say like, if I was 30.
Yeah, she's the intimidation factor of what's going on. Let's see. I'll let Brittany describe Missy.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Ooh.
Talk right into
Missy's
that.
my best friend.
Okay.
First of all, on the road, but Missy handles like city to city, you got to think like you probably only see Chicago. You know
Right.
what I mean? But we go Chicago, San Fran, San Jose.
I mean, I watch it on Flow, so I watch
Right.
the events, but I don't see the production.
Like you can imagine you're a small city and you understand your small little culture of the place. You know what I mean? Like you run into 100 people that you know personally or whatever.
Right.
Missy knows 100 people plus the 900 other people in the town.
Right.
In every town.
Wow.
So then coordinating, like she's like, oh yeah, he wants to sit by his wife, and then their aunt and uncle are coming all the way up from Portland, or she knows all their backstories and everything, and then communicating with all these people to coordinate the best event, and then
Right.
also like make them have the best experience, because I feel like Fight to Win Pro is an experience. More so you get like close. Ever since the commission happened, like there was in like MMA and all that stuff where they took away the ringside seats and stuff back in the old days, where you could have the experience of like a cage line seating, and maybe like bigger cities didn't have that, but I come from a small place where commissions weren't, and
Right.
they sold the ringside. Sorry. Oh yeah, cool. But like, she coordinates this and gives them an experience that they haven't even ever imagined they could have before, and like lets it do it with their friends and family, right? And then watching either their kid or their idol, and maybe their kid is their idol,
Right.
But city to city, she does that. I don't know if that made any sense. But
Yeah, it does for sure.
Okay,
That's what she
so
does.
Brittany totally did not do what I wanted her to do. So I was going to let Missy describe her own job.
I think I
But
did pretty good.
so Missy is the vice president of self-esteem. So
That's me.
essentially, if you think that you are awesome, then you will meet Missy and she will let you know that you're not awesome.
Right. Which she did to Zito immediately when she walked in here.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which is what that's how it goes down. It's like some people, they need to be taken down, a peg or two, and Missy takes all the pegs out. So that my favorite part of Missy's job is when people ask me something or try to take advantage. I just say, "Oh yeah, you got to ask Missy for that," and then I don't get taken advantage because they're horrified of her. So that, and then plus, on top of being the VP of self-esteem, she has to organize hundreds and hundreds of fighter information per city every week to organize for me so I can do the matchmaking and try to put together the show. She has to book all the travel. She does. I'd say me and her, when it comes to everything outside of the production, it's about a 50-50 split of who does what. But when it comes to self-esteem, Missy's that's your gal.
That's exactly what I just said.
Exactly. Basically, yes.
That's
Word
what I
for
mean.
word.
Word for word.
Yeah.
So you guys both do the matchmaking, or you do
I
the
do all
matchmaking
of it.
side? So do you have someone in each city where you could kind of like hit them up and be like, hey, what do you think about? I mean, there's no way every athlete in every city, right?
Generally, what we do is Missy creates the report for us of, all the information about the people, where they're from.
Because these
their
people,
school.
they submit applications online.
Yeah, it's the only way
Then
we
you
do
have to
it.
follow up.
What do
and
you
see.
ask for in the applications?
Just name, phone number, email address.
Rank.
I don't even know.
Rank.
Right.
You don't want to know about like how many social media followers you have.
No, I
or-
have to do all that. So after that's already done, I'll go through, if I don't know them, I'll go through each individual person, look at their Facebook page, see what kind of people I'm dealing with. Like if they're super political, or they like really bad music and post like links to it, I won't put them on the show. I'm dead serious. Like if they're like really into mumble rap and they're like posting like videos or like
Gross.
super motivational quotes all the time, I fucking hate that. And so I'll go on their Facebook pages and I'll see how they act, and look at their page, see who they're friends with. If they have videos on YouTube or on Facebook, I'll watch them too, just to see their style of competing,
Yeah.
And just kind of see if they seem like a person that I want to represent my company and represent the sport on the stage that we provide. So I actually look through like New York right now. I'm super behind on it because I had 300 people on the list and I have to look up 300 people. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it, but we're 49, 50 shows into this now. So this is the only way that I've been doing it. So this is just how I do it. So
you're real strict on like song choice then too.
no. Well, song choice. I mean, I'm joking about the rap thing, but I just feel like people that like really shitty music are generally pretty shitty people. So
Tell us how you really feel.
No, I'm joking. But no, I mean, song choice is important when it comes to the show, you know, like, because I'm the one, I designed the video screens, right? And like last week, this old man had his little kids pick this awesome song that sounded like it could be like the theme song for any cartoon. And I've been listening to it like nonstop. And it was just fun, you know, like it was a fun song. And it's like, and I'm pumped up and like, there's a cool song, or it's, you know, like it's some awesome Wu-Tang song, or just anything super cool. You get a better screen. But if you pick like some crappy Little Uzi Vert song or some crap like that, I'm just gonna put something boring up there because it's just boring. Like when the guys talk like that, what's that Timmy Turner song? I fucking hate that song. But the worst thing is when people walk out. I'll let Missy describe those songs that we hate when people choose.
Remember the name.
Fort Minor.
I don't remember anybody's name that ever picked that song.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the worst song in the history of walkout songs.
And
Stop picking it.
I challenge that with Mom Spaghetti is the worst walkout song.
Terrible.
To pick. So what's that song called? Lose
Mom
Yourself.
Spaghetti. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lose
it's
yourself.
like we get it.
Yeah.
You're
The Eminem
motivated.
song.
You're 80% this and 60% that and 20% that. We get it.
Yeah.
But like pick something cooler. So those are the main two songs that every time they're picked, it's like getting a knife into my rib cage.
Now you competed on one of your own cards, right? You were like
Several.
stepping.
I've done
several?
like 5 of them.
Well, there was one in particular that you had to come in because someone had a
When
drop out.
Professor Todd
Right.
got hurt in Atlanta.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you?
I should have done it last week. Not myself, but one of my Troy should have done it. I totally screwed the pooch on that one. So like it's kind of one of the rules, mainly with me and Troy, because Thomas Keenan, one of our refs, is kind of like one of the like up and coming top black belts like out there. So I can't just have him jump in and take matches that be kind of fucked up. It's like, hey Thomas, this guy went down.
You want to jump in on that? No.
I'm not very good, and neither is Troy. So we're both, you know, very average jiu-jitsu people that just try hard. We're busy. So basically what happens is we're always trying to be ready. So if something happens during the show, you don't want a guy to lose a fight. So if you can't find someone else on the card to take it, you got to step in and do it yourself.
Right,
So
yeah.
what happened in Atlanta was our friend Todd Cornfield was jumping on the stage before his match, like just to warm up, and blew his knee out.
Jesus.
And he was fighting, what's that dude's name that beat me up? Diego.
Professor Diego Saravia?
How do you say it?
Saravia?
Yeah. So that guy, he was up there, and he had, you know, he's had a pretty good crowd there to see him, and he's won a whole bunch of tournaments, like big tournaments, like Brazilian Nationals and stuff like that. And Todd would have given him a good fight, you know, especially after feeling him myself, like, you know what I mean, going with him.
Yeah.
I think Todd would have, because I fought Todd before too. And I think it would have been a good one. But
Missy, you didn't knock him down a couple of pegs before he went out there to fight Seth?
No, I work the front. Like, I work the door.
yeah,
That would have
So-
been a good time to bring someone's self-esteem down, right?
No, I don't think he speaks English. No, we're really nice to the athletes usually. It's just when they try to take advantage of certain situations, try to get us to give them free tickets and try to walk. Because a lot of promoters will let them do that. They'll just like step on top of them and try to push their way through. And it's just how it is. That's just part of this world. It's coming from the combat sports world and MMA world. There's just a lot of people out there like that try to take advantage. So that's what, you know, I say that about Missy is just because like I'm more of a pushover probably of anybody on the whole crew.
Yeah.
You know, like I tend to, you know, I look the toughest, but I'm the biggest pussy of the group next to Evan for sure. But, you know, Missy's the biggest hard ass. So she probably would have done better in that fight than I did, to be honest with you, because I got murdered. I went out there and we got robbed 2 days before. And my head was
robbed?
like, yeah, we got robbed in Atlanta. We went in to get some food at TGI Fridays at like midnight, and somebody bashed our windows and stole our computers and our cameras and shit like that out of our truck. Because we put it all in the truck, you know, and then we locked it. And I mean, it was a learning experience for us because, you know, it's just shit that you don't think about happening till it fucking happens.
Right.
You know, and it's like, you know, I'm going to eat at 11 o'clock p.m. I've been driving for 33 hours straight.
Right.
I get in somewhere right before a restaurant closes, gonna go eat some hot food that's not out of a gas station.
Right.
You go in, you go outside, and your windows are smashed out. Like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, all right, so now we learn, and now we have like a upgraded security system. We have shatterproof glass in the truck. Like, it's like stuff like that people don't see. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see that shit. You go to a show and you're like, oh, there's 1,000 people here. These people make fucking $50,000. But it's like, motherfucker, the show cost $45,000 to put on, or cost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if we're lucky, we get out of a show, we give all the profits back to the fighters. We make all of our money on fucking broadcasts and on our sponsors. Right. So, you know, we get out of a show with a couple grand in our pocket. That's a good day for us. Right. But, you know, shit like that hurts. So that was like, it was just fucking with my head, like it was a real violating feeling. It was really weird. Sure. But it's like I wasn't there. I mean, like, that's what I've been dreaming about my whole life. It's like somebody trying to jump you. Like, that's what you do martial arts. You know what I mean? Like someone wants to break into your car, steal your car, and then you take away their weapon, you beat them up, you work with the cops. Like, that's in your head. That's how it goes down. But what really happens is, like, you go to eat, and these cowards just break into your car and steal your shit.
Exactly. And you come out, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What was all this jiu-jitsu training for if I can't even...
I had my gi in there.
Yeah, I had my gi, for sure. But... No, so that was just like fucking with my head, and then the Atlanta show was super weird just to begin with. It was a weird show, and so I just went up there and got the shit kicked out of me.
When something, I mean, obviously you're insured. Everything's insured.
You think that? It's just like,
how's that work?
So at the time, we thought I have a homeowner based business insurance.
Yeah.
Something like that on my house that covers up to $100,000 of loss. So I figure, I'm good, right? Because it's a home-based business.
Yeah.
But that only covers you if you're at your home, and then there's only $1,000 that it covers you if you're not at home.
Oh man. So
that's how insurance is, though. You know. Yeah, so since then, we spent like $15,000 on different insurances to make sure, okay, well, what if the trailer gets stolen? What if the trailer gets broken into? What if the car gets broken into? What if so we've spent like a ton of money in the past couple of months just on insurance.
Sure.
Because I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like all these people in Houston, they didn't know they didn't have flood protection.
Right.
My house flooded, and I didn't know I didn't have flood protection. Mm-hmm. I thought, you're paying fucking $2,500 a month for a mortgage and you have home insurance. You figure that's covered.
Right.
Why would they not cover a $499 a year fucking policy? And it's because of shit like this. So now they have 100,000 homes that are uninsured in Houston. These people just have to come out of pocket, and insurance companies are hands free.
Right.
So it's the same type of thing with this business. You don't know what you need until you need it.
Right.
And so, you know, that...
You're going all the time. It's like, hey, I need insurance. All right, we gave you insurance. All right, great, I'm covered. Yeah, cool. And then something happens. You're like, oh, what the fuck? That's
so for the past 5 months, ever since Atlanta happened, we've really been turning this into more professional business.
Yeah.
Of just making sure we have our shit covered.
Oh, dot your I's, cross your T's type thing. Yeah, it's tough because I'm a small business owner myself. I started my computer company. Basically out of my house, and then, I've been doing this now. This is my 15th year in business, but there's a lot of those things that I had to learn along the way that I got, we try to reinvent the wheel or do something silly like that. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate that had happened. So you're still considered like a home-based business, or did you like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I work on my couch watching Netflix and movies all day. That's what I do. So it's like basically like the team no sleep thing, like, the reason that we call ourselves that is because the shows, basically the way it works is you get there Thursday, say the show's Friday, right? We get here Thursday. We usually get in around noon or so, I would say, around noon. And we usually go straight to the hotel or to the venue if we can build. Mm-hmm. And me and Missy will start working, and the crew will do whatever they want, or they'll go train somewhere, depending on what time we get there and when classes are and stuff like that of the local schools. And then we build the show the night before. We usually cut off at about 10, and then we get to sleep that night. But then the next day is when it gets really hard. So we work from 8 a.m. until 2 a.m., and then we jump on a plane usually at 6 a.m. So we can get home, because I got like kids' football games to go to, which are trying to save money so we don't have to pay for 2 hotels,
right.
Cheaper flights at 6 a.m., all that stuff. So we bounce out. So you literally don't sleep from that 8 a.m. all the way to, because you're on a plane. Plane sleep's not really sleep. You're like in and out of it. And then you get home, and then you're completely worthless for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And so then it's really hard to just like, you stay awake or you pass out. You stay awake and pass out.
So what brought you to this point? I mean, you woke up one day and said, okay, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu tournaments. Like, how did that even come about?
Start?
We started Fight to Win in 2008, doing regular jiu-jitsu tournaments in Colorado and Texas. And at the time, in 2008, we were also doing MMA fights. And we just ran that business for 7 years, 6 or 7 years. And I mean, it's literally all we did. And then in 2014, we started adding rock concerts onto our profile. So we were doing concert production, concert promotion, MMA shows, jiu-jitsu tournaments. And that's what we were doing.
Okay.
And then we were doing really well. We were backed by oil and gas companies. So, like, we were making retarded amounts of money. And so that's how we were able to purchase a bunch of the stuff.
Right.
Like the sound system, like a lot of the stuff we have came from other businesses that we owned prior. And then when the oil prices tanked 2 years ago, we went from, like, we were making like $60,000 per MMA show we were doing, like with concerts and stuff, to losing $50,000 per show. Like, it was a complete shift.
Wow.
You were doing really well, and then, I mean, like, we were doing shows in, like, Williston, North Dakota. Like, we were literally going to the oil towns.
Right, yeah.
And these towns, I don't know if you've ever been to any of these towns, but, like, when they're hitting, they're the most fun places on earth. Because these, just, like, all these oil people with, like, all this crazy money and expense accounts. And, like, we did a party, we had Vanilla Ice there. Like, you know, we did one with Bret Michaels. Like, it was just, like... It was one of these, it's just a weird community that just spends and spends money. But what happens when it goes away is they're so fruitless with their money that when it's gone, like, there's nothing. The whole town's turned into, like, fucking cockroaches. Like, there's no one there.
Wow.
So, like, we literally did a show in May and went back in August. And we made $50,000 in May and lost $90,000 in August.
Wow.
Like, it was literally, like, 3 months in the same city.
Wow.
And... we were backed in Denver by the same people, in Texas by the same people, and all these people went out of business. And it was my fault because I banked on it too much, on these oil companies sponsoring us, not really worrying about the tickets and all that stuff because we were selling so many sponsors. And then when all that went away, it just became really hard. And, you know, the jiu-jitsu thing was really the only thing I was really passionate about because I fucking hate MMA, and I've hated it for a long time.
And what is it about that you don't really like about MMA?
Mainly dealing with the fighters, to be honest with you. As a promoter, it's really difficult to deal with MMA fighters. I feel like they're very entitled. No offense, Brittany. She fights in Bellator.
Okay.
They're just really entitled, and they think that they're, like, super special because they go into a cage and get into a fist fight. But, like, you know, whatever. You know, I mean, like, I get it. You know, without the fighters, you don't have a promotion. Well, the fighters, yeah, I know they're putting their health out there and they're putting on the line, but a lot of times they don't have the empathy for the promoter that the promoter's putting all the money up.
Right.
And they don't want to promote it, or they don't do this, or they don't do that, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. And it's a lot of risk on the promoter in the MMA world, you know. Plus, I don't like the sport. To be honest with you, man. Like, I'm just not into it, you know. And in 2012, I really started burning out on it. And I always tell myself, like, if I'm doing something just to make money at it, I'm not going to do it anymore. Right. I used to make like $250,000 a year in my last job I had, and I lost it. I wasn't into it, and if I'm not into it, I can't do it because it's not just about money. Like, I have to be passionate about something. And I should have quit doing MMA shows like 2 years before I did. And I just kept pushing myself through it, and dredging every fucking day of working on fight cards and doing this, and I didn't want to do it. So essentially what wound up happening is the concert business started failing. I lost my interest in the MMA, and it started failing. So the jiu-jitsu business we were running was literally, I was stealing from Peter, which is the jiu-jitsu business, to fund Paul, which is the rock concerts and the MMA stuff. So I'm stealing from the thing I love doing to pay for the thing I hate doing.
Right.
So I had decided, I don't know if I came up with the idea, my wife came up with the idea, or Missy came up with the idea. To be honest with you, I don't really know. It's kind of all a blur right now. It's been like such a crazy past 2 years. But we had this idea of, look, we have all this equipment, right? Mm-hmm. And the only thing that I like doing is jiu-jitsu. So let's put it together. Let's put together a regional Metamoris style event.
Right.
And see if people will even come.
Right.
Because that was the thing at the time when we started this was, okay, why did Metamoris fail? Right? Metamoris failed because they overpaid their fighters. They didn't sell any fucking tickets.
Right.
And they didn't pay. They overpaid their fighters, and then they didn't pay their fighters. They weren't honorable about their money.
Right.
Right. So it's like it's catch-22. Like everybody wanted so much from him, and they gave it to him, and then there's nothing left.
Right.
Because he was, you know, Halleck, for all this shit that people like to talk about him, he's the one that created this idea. He created this concept of building this super show. Because I mean, like ADCC, if you watch ADCC, there's nothing special about the production.
Right.
I mean, it's a badass fucking tournament.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But when it comes to the production, it's just like any other tournament.
Just like any other tournament.
You know? So Halleck created this great concept, but he was the wrong person to run it.
Right.
And I saw some holes in what they were doing from our production background that I thought we could make look better. And then I was like, well, let's just see if we do it regionally, if anybody will even come. We didn't know. First show, we spent like $25,000 on it and just had no clue if this was going to work or not.
Right.
And we put it together, and it was a hit. And then we decided to go to Texas next, which was because that's where we did all of our business, was Colorado and Texas.
Okay.
And we went to Houston, where Missy's from, and it did really well. And then we did another one in Texas that went really well. Then we went back to Denver, and we did the Mackenzie Dern thing, which was a big deal because like nowadays, like, you know, there's the support women's jiu-jitsu, and, you know, Eddie did the full women's fight card.
Right.
But before we did the Dern fight, like, nobody was doing that shit, dude. Like, we were the first ones to be like, I don't care if they got tits or not. They can be the main event.
Right.
Like, what does it make a difference if a chick if the main event has boobs or pecs? Like, who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like if they're good at jiu-jitsu, put them on and let them fucking
Right.
display their skills.
Yeah.
You know? So we did that, and that was the best show we ever had with her. And then we took the big risk, and we went all in and spent everything. We liquidated everything we had. Money wise, bought the truck, bought the trailer, another couple $100,000 in production equipment. We're totally wiped out, like down to like $300. And took the shot, went to San Diego, did okay. Then went to Dallas and had like this mega monster show in Dallas, and that like refunded the company.
Nice.
So that we had a tournament that we pulled 1,500 competitors, and we had 3,000 people for the Pro 6.
Wow.
And since then, things have changed quite a bit. But we made those first 6 events, we made a shitload of money. Like, it paid for everything.
Okay.
You know, it paid for the truck, paid for the trailer, paid for all that equipment. It's gotten a lot tougher since then.
Yeah.
But that's because of all the copycats and bullshit artists that go out there and put on events telling people they're like Fight to Win, and then people go to them and they realize how bad they suck, and then trying to get them to another professional jiu-jitsu show, which is another whole concept we can talk about later, about what being a pro jiu-jitsu athlete is.
No, let's get into that
what I
now,
think
because
it is.
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on that.
Well, okay, so Fight to Win Pro, when I started that, it was not about calling these athletes professional athletes. Fight to Win Pro was saying the difference between our open tournaments and our professional event, which was about the production. It had nothing to do with the fighter themselves, right? And now there's all these companies that put a mat on a fucking stage in a bar, and they're like, oh, it's professional grappling. You don't even know what the fuck that means. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. If you aren't paying all of your bills being an athlete, then you're not a fucking professional athlete, in my opinion. Right? If you're going up there and you're making $100 or $200, you're not a fucking professional athlete.
Right.
Right? It's a professional event that athletes compete in.
Right.
So it's like, you know, Brittany's my friend that's a girl, but she's not my girlfriend.
Exactly.
Do you see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Right.
Right.
So I think that all these wannabe companies have really taken my concept and my idea and really kind of twisted what it was about. Because what Fight to Win Pro is about, and Missy might have another opinion of how I see it and how she sees it, but the way I see it is the whole purpose of what Fight to Win Pro was. Obviously, it was to help the athletes make some money, right? But it was to put jiu-jitsu in a spotlight to showcase how amazing jiu-jitsu is, so that people in the crowd become students.
Exactly.
That was the entire purpose
Yeah.
of why I created this. So if I get more students competing or more students joining, I've got more people competing and supporting local events, which I do believe that's happened all over the country everywhere we go.
Right.
Because we've shown people that this can be an exciting sport.
Mm-hmm.
We've shown them through the production that this fucking purple belt 50-year-old dude with 3 kids and a wife that would never fight in a fucking cage ever. Right? Can go up there and for a brief few moments in front of his kids and grandkids, he can be a fucking superhero.
Yeah.
And they'll never forget that.
Right.
And those images that we provide for them and the pictures and the video and all that, that's the professionalism of the sport.
Exactly.
It's not the athlete being the professional.
Right.
It's us making it look professional so that when people see it, they're like, oh man, what a great professional event that was. I don't feel like I was in a shitty bar watching some crappy MMA fighters. Because
that makes sense.
That's how where we live, there's a show and he runs all the MMA in our town, all of it. And he has like 4 tiers of events. He has like a crappy bar show, then he has a mega arena show.
I fought on all these shows.
Yeah, it's like and I'm not saying anything bad about the guy. The guy is a fucking fantastic promoter, right? But the way he does it, it's like, I mean, it's literally like a bar show with a bunch of crappy guys that have maybe trained for a few months,
Right,
and then
right.
this mega professional show. And so I've always been under the assumption, and this is the reason why I hate the fucking imitators and the copycats, is any place we go somewhere where we have these, and it's starting to be everywhere in the country, where they go out there and they try to do what we do, and obviously they're not going to spend the money that we did. You can't expect them to, because we had the money coming into it, like I said. But the people go to these shows, and it's just not that experience. And it's not. It's actually, to me, it's backwards. It turns people away from the sport. If I go to a concert and it sounds like shit and it looks like shit, I'm probably not only not going to go back to that venue, but I'm probably not going to go see that band anymore.
Right.
That's just how it is. And that's how I feel a lot of these copycat shows are. But I can't, I try to keep my blinders on and just focus on my own business and what I'm doing and making sure that every time we produce a product out there, that it's the fucking best it can possibly be. And we take this shit seriously, man.
Sure.
Like our crew, like when there's a fight between us, it's always about something to do with the show. Like when we're screaming and yelling at each other, it's got nothing to do with fucking like, I don't like the way you looked at me, Brittany, even though I don't like the way you're looking at me right now. Or it's usually about like me and Missy will get in a fight about ticketing. Like something that I think will make it more efficient, and I don't fucking know what I'm talking about because I don't run ticketing, and then she has to take my pegs out.
Right.
And take my legs out. And that's how it goes. Like I try to help her and I screw up and I make the show worse. Or Evan will not. One of the fights me and Evan get into is sometimes he will cut back on production just a little bit, and it won't look awesome enough. And then I'll argue with him about it, and then it'll be like, "This is how I want it to look because this is the best for the venue." And we'll hit the light like that's what we argue
Exactly.
about. It's
Yeah.
a little insignificant shit about the way a light is going to hit that wall.
Right.
Yes.
In order to create an effect that's going to look right in a photo.
Right.
And it fucking matters too, because I
to us
describe
it
Fight
does.
to Win as a jiu-jitsu rock show.
Yeah.
And the last one with the ball that
Yeah. It's
The
awesome.
disco ball?
The disco ball.
Man, I don't know if we can do that
fucking-
anymore, to be honest with
Why?
you. Like, we're big disco ball fans, and that's like
I love
a
it.
thing that we always try to do. But a lot of the fighters complain about it because when you're on your back and for the referee, it's like because it shot the way it hits the ground,
Right.
This shit's like spinning. So it's like it's like super.
Disorienting.
What's the word?
They
I'm
get
looking for?
disoriented?
Yeah, they get disoriented
I
from
see.
it.
Really?
Yeah, but like picture wise, it looks fucking.
Is there
dope.
any
It
way-
looks so
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
really like that disco ball.
I mean, I don't totally get rid of it. Is there any way to like maybe tape off the bottom so it won't hit the mat and fuck with the fighters, but you could still get it all like on the walls and everything?
I'm not that guy. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I'll talk
Talk
to
to
Evan.
Evan.
I'll talk to
Evan-
Evan.
Evan
See
might
how
be
that
able to
works?
figure that out.
It's like that's how it always works.
my world.
Yeah, that's not my world.
so maybe you're thinking like a half moon disco ball, or from the bottom.
Yeah, because
crescent.
when
the
when
dark side on the bottom.
but when it beams off the whole like arena, like
Looks so-
on all the
it's
walls
so
and stuff,
badass.
it looks badass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
it does.
cool. But it's just a little stuff, though. It's those little attentions to detail that really make a difference. And if these people will come back, and if they will become members of the gym. Because if we're not creating new members and new students, then we're doing the whole community a disservice because we're taking away money from the community.
Yeah.
That's not what we're
be.
trying to do. We're trying to put money back into the community. And if we're literally just fucking taking, like a lot of these people do, and you just take, then those people aren't going to join a gym. They're not going to, and then the sport's not going to grow.
And showcasing all the gyms. Obviously, when you go to a state and you want to pick the gyms to compete, everyone do you ever like say, oh, let's make sure we get this gym. Let's make sure, even though no one's signed up from that gym, have you ever like gone out and like done any like
reached out?
Or you just anyone who wants to sign up, they have to sign up.
In general, we do request that everybody that wants to be considered apply at
Right.
F2WPRO.com.
Okay.
It's the easiest way for me to manage and not forget about them, because I get tons of messages all the time that say, I'm so-and-so, watch my videos. And it's just too hard.
Right.
I can't watch them. There's way too many. People very proud of their children, want to get their children on the show. I get a lot of messages, but the only way to get on that list is to apply. We do reach out in certain instances where we need to.
Right.
But for the most part, it's always
all
through that
right.
application process.
Now, we normally don't have to do a lot of outreach.
Okay, good. Well, that's good.
Now,
yeah.
when we first started, it was like
Yeah.
calling people, trying to get a hold of them, sending them messages, begging them to get people to apply. Like our first show in San Diego, we got like 80 applications.
Yeah.
Which is pathetic.
Right.
Like if I get 80 applications now, we got to 160 for St. Louis, and I canceled the show because I was like, I'm not feeling it. Like I don't feel like the energy, because I'm a gut person, and I'm like, if I'm not feeling that, like the community's not super pumped for it. If I don't get like 200-300 people like really wanting to be on the show, like New York, like you're just like, fuck it.
How
I don't
many
wanna
did
do it.
Chicago get this time?
Chicago's dope.
Yeah, Chicago's a big
dope.
one for us.
I love
It's
it.
like 250 to 300 every single time.
Yeah. Yep.
And our first one in Chicago though was like less than 100. But so it's grown that way to where we don't have to outreach anymore as
Right.
much. But we try to make a list every time when we go somewhere of who are the influential people, what are the biggest gyms,
Right.
Who, if there's any big stars. But it's easy when you go to Chicago. It's easy because like there's a lot of fucking great jiu-jitsu out here.
Yeah.
You know? But when you go to let's see, where's the place? Minneapolis, for instance. You ever heard of a fucking grappler from Minneapolis? You know what I mean? So it's like Brock Lesnar, right? So it's like that's when you really have to reach out.
Yeah.
And that a lot of times that's when we'll partner. We partner with the Minnesota Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation out there.
Okay.
And I'll hire them and be like, hey, I need you to help me get the word out.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
Minnesota.
so they're everywhere.
Really?
And almost every state has one except for the mega states.
Okay.
So like California doesn't have one, New York doesn't have
Do
one.
we have one in Chicago?
No.
Okay.
Chicago is
Right.
any place that IBJJF goes.
Yeah.
There's a 99% chance that there is not a federation
I see.
that oversees that state except Arizona. That's the
Okay.
only one I can think of. But we'll find the local tournament promoter and hire them.
Okay.
I hired JW Wright for St. Louis.
Oh, nice.
I'll literally go out there and just the people that are really good at promoting tournaments.
Right.
If I see their stuff and they're not like Kip Collar taking pictures with their fucking t-shirt off, wearing a Naga belt like a douchebag, I will contact them. Like the dude in Seattle, what was that little dude's name? Jeff.
Yeah, he was dope.
I know people like everywhere, so I'll ask them. I'll be like, who's the main guy out there for tournaments? And I'll look up his tournament, and I'm like, yeah, this looks professional. This looks good. This guy looks like he's cool. Like
Yeah.
Dustin Ware in Ohio.
Dustin's
and
cool.
we'll reach out to them and just be like, hey, we want to bring our event to Seattle. We don't want it to interfere with your tournament at all, and we'd actually like to hire you to help us put the card together. Because not only now. Do we have
Seth was looking for?
someone local to help promote the event? But we have
They have a 4-hour window.
but we have someone local to promote the event. But now he can say like, hey, look,
Yeah.
I got
So there's a noon,
this
4
big
a.m.,
event
8
coming to
o'clock,
town, and because you've been
4-hour
supporting my
window,
tournaments, I'm suggesting that you go onto the event.
Right.
So it makes them look good too, because we don't want to hurt the local tournament scene. We need the local tournament scene.
Right.
We need the local tournament scene to help build up the professional scene.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
without the local tournament scene, it's just not. It's not gonna work. So I mean, that's why we don't do open tournaments in any of these markets.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
if
that
we
makes
can,
sense.
if we can, we'll work with the local tournament every single time that we go. It's just at a place like this, there's really no local tournament.
So there's a fight to it. There's a question I've had ever since I saw it. and I don't understand how the system works. The belt, like who gets a belt, when you guys give out belts, what is that whole system with your belts and stuff like that?
Well, it's based on points. World champs qualify for title shots.
So world champs in what, IBJJF?
Yes.
Okay.
And
And ADCC.
and ADCC.
So
And World
black,
Pro.
only black belt world
No,
champs.
all of them.
All brown,
every
purple?
rank, yeah.
Okay.
And or 30 points. To earn points, 10 points is a win by submission, 5 points is a win by decision. If you get fight of the night, you split 5 points with the other guy, so you get 2.5 there, and submission of the night is 5 points.
It's just we have this super elaborate spreadsheet that Missy does, another massive task that Missy has to do every week.
Yeah.
And we literally can't get it onto the website fast enough to update it because we have a show every week.
Right.
So by the time we get it up there and he does all that, you literally have to do another one.
Yeah.
So we haven't been able to figure out a way to publish the rankings to where it works that way. So we keep it internally. But generally, the title, I'm real picky about the title fights. Like, I'm very, I rarely...
Well, they're sporadic. It's not every event. There's a title.
No, they're very sporadic.
Right.
And it's mainly a lot of times, sometimes they don't even qualify, to be honest with you. Like last weekend in Tulsa, Daniel Roberts is the champion. He beat the previous champion, Isaiah Wright, right? And so basically, I went to Daniel and I said, hey, I got these 3 people from all over the country that are up for a title fight. Now, he's the champ, though, right? So I'm like, which one do you want? And he said, well, he's like, any of those guys are fine, but I just lost a match to Hunter Colvin in Tulsa, and I think he deserves the title shot, and I want to fight him and beat him in front of all my friends and family.
Okay.
And so a lot of times that's what happens, is that I want to bring someone in from somewhere else, and they already have someone in mind.
Right.
And it's always someone they've lost to.
Of course, right.
It's never like, oh, yeah, I beat this guy 10 times. Let me have him. It's always someone they're like, well, I'm the champ, and he beat me, and I want to fight him.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened, and Hunter beat him. And Hunter was only 1-0 at the time.
Wow.
But, those kind of situations happen,
But then that's a guy who didn't actually even have enough points to become the champ.
Exactly, right.
So, that's a tough scenario to be in.
But we're pretty picky about I'm usually that situation doesn't happen because it's a lot. There's a handful of people right now that are up for title fights.
Anyone in Chicago?
No.
No.
Not right now.
Okay.
We're talking about starting a Masters title line.
Okay.
So if Mark wins this one, he would be up for it next.
Okay.
To be honest, we probably would have done it for this one if Mark's on a 2-fight win streak. I think if he would have had one more going into this, I'd let him fight Casio for the belt because Casio is a 5-time world champion.
Right.
But we've been talking about that lately just because if you look at who our champions are, for a master to be able to hold those titles is going to be fucking impossible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
DJ Jackson.
Yeah, you're going to put Thomas Cronin against JT Torres. You know what I mean?
Right.
What guy that's 30 plus is going to fight Gordon Ryan for the 205 belt?
Right.
It's just not doable. So we're going to start doing Masters titles next.
That's good.
So I'm sure whoever's listening to this, they'll start having Masters titles.
So
on their shows as well.
The belts are based on weight classes, but
They're MMA weight classes.
Okay, but are you going to do gi belts and
We
no
already
gi?
do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we
it's
do
both.
black, brown, purple, teen, and kids, and it's all based on weight, rank, and it will start to be based on age.
Nice.
Okay.
Starting pretty soon. Once we start having the fights, that makes sense. They still got to qualify though.
Yeah.
Right.
They still got.
Yeah,
But
like-
only reason why they could qualify is by doing your event initially to get those points.
Unless they're a world champ.
Unless they're a world champ.
For instance,
Because the IBJJF points don't matter to you.
no,
You
they
care
don't.
about
But
that.
people like to shit on IBJJF that are into the sub only thing.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. I think it's legit as fuck. I
Yeah.
like competing at IBJJF tournaments. I think it is ADCC, IBJJF, and EBI. Those are the crowns, man.
Yeah.
I don't mind us being the fucking LFA of jiu-jitsu. ADCC can be the UFC of this shit, and spend all the money and lose it, and EBI can be the Bellator. You know, our production is going to be the best no matter what, no matter where we go. We will always have the best production.
Right.
With the exception of the Russian Mafia over in Bearcoot. You know, it's tough to compete with those guys. But you know,
who are those? I never heard of that.
You never heard of Bearcoot?
No.
Super elaborate production.
Is that the BEER?
Yeah. They're the Russian Mafia or Chechen Mafia.
Okay, yeah.
Own the ACB.
But they don't have as many events as you do.
No, but they've signed like all of my top guys.
Oh, have they really?
And they're paying them
Exclusive,
retarded amounts of money. Yeah.
Oh, they
on
did
exclusive
exclusively.
contracts.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of my guys have gotten their contracts because of us through them, and I'm not going to fight them for it. I'll just make new stars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got certain guys, you know, like Ben Henderson that only grapples with us, and
we had Kyle Terra out here.
Kyle's my homeboy, dude. Yeah,
Kyle's
we love
dope.
Kyle.
Yeah.
I love him.
You know, I mean, we have a handful of people that are super loyal to us,
Nice.
and
but you have no contracts with any of these guys.
I don't believe
It's cool.
in contracts.
No, it's not.
I want what's best for each person.
Right.
That's why when Grappling Games did their show last weekend, I told all the fighters, I was like, look, if you want to do that show, it's totally fine. You're just not going to be on my show.
Right.
It's your choice, though. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. They want to do this show. They want to do that show. They want to leave us. We've had champs. What's his name? Tanquino left us to go to Bearcoot. He was our champion, but I'm not going to lock these guys into contracts.
Right.
Because when you lock people into contracts, you limit their ability to do what they want. I want people to do whatever the fuck they want.
Right.
But Rafael Lovato Jr. is not with them. You know, a lot of these guys aren't with those people. AJ Agazarm signed with them and then left them and came back to us. And it's just one of those things where it's like people need to do what's best for them and their families, you know. And a lot of times I feel like the people that are super loyal to us, we bring them all over the country, like Kaio.
Yeah.
You know, like we'll bring them everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Gordon, Gary, they fought everywhere for
Yeah.
us, you know. And those guys aren't signing over there. You know what I mean? It just
Right.
each person's different. They all got their own specific situations, you know.
Yeah.
But when it comes to production, I feel like we're the best that there's going to be, especially in the United States for sure.
Any weird requests from fighters?
For what?
Just like coming on your show, that if you like reach out to someone that's a big name, and then they're like, "Hey, I need this, and this. If I want to come do your show." Anything strange like that?
No, it's all about money.
Is that it's only money, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we treat. I mean, we promote the 7-year-old kids as heavy as we promote the black belts. So
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make a difference to
Right,
us. And if they were to do that, I would just tell them to talk to Missy. So I tell them to talk to Missy. I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Nothing ever happens. Usually they just, cry themselves to sleep, and then we just go from there. So I don't
Yeah.
really have to worry about that at all.
That's good.
Are we going to see Gordon in the gi on an upcoming fight to
I
win?
tried pulling that off in Brooklyn, and he's going to be at EBI, but I don't see him doing that within the next 6 months.
Okay.
Based on what I've got from him and his camp. Gordon and Jeff are an interesting group to work with. I love them to death. Like they're great people to work with. Like Gordon's awesome. I don't
Yeah.
care what people say about him online.
I love Gordon.
He's
He's
not.
dope.
He's not the Dylan Dennis. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like his posts and stuff he does online. He's like real arrogant.
Oh, he's
That
funny
is
as hell. I
not
know he's
an
trolling.
he's
for
not
sure.
an arrogant kid.
Yeah.
Like at all. Gary Tonin is like the funnest person.
Yeah.
on our
Right,
crew.
right,
yeah.
Like he's awesome. He's come to way more events than he's actually been a part of.
Yeah.
Like to hang out with us and stuff
Sure.
like that. Like they're
He's fun.
hilarious, the whole group, but they're all awkward in their own way. Like Eddie's super nice and super strange.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so Gordon is right now trying to land his gi sponsor.
Yeah.
So until Gordon gets his gi sponsor, I would not look for Gordon to be taking any gi fights.
Right.
That's
But
how
I
it's
mean,
gonna
he's
work.
got to get a sponsor real quick, don't you think?
I mean, I'm sure they're all.
I know how much
probably
money
figuring things
that
out.
is being thrown at him right now,
Yeah.
and it is for the sponsorship alone
Uh-huh.
more than most people make monthly,
Yeah.
which is fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
He
awesome.
deserves
Good.
it. He deserves
Fucking
every
right.
fucking penny of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally
He's a
agree.
22-year-old kid. Everybody talks shit about him forever. He works his ass off, and he's got a great attitude. He's from a great family.
And don't you find that strange that, when we look at this perspective of, all the social media and the haters that are out there, I think I'm 42. So when I think back and I'm looking at when I was 22 years old, this kid's got his shit together, regardless of what you think of him as a person and how he posts stuff. But at 22, to accomplish what he's accomplished, I don't even know what the fuck I was doing. I was I don't know, picking my nose, shitting on myself. I don't know what the fuck I was doing at 22. This kid's fucking training all day long, beating everybody in the world except Felipe Pena, but he'll get there. And he's doing it, and he's fucking making money at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like people ask
how do you
like, when
hate
he's
that
going to
guy?
do the MMA.
Yeah.
Like, why would he do MMA?
What's the point?
Doesn't make any
why does
sense.
he need to get hit
Well,
in
it's
the
like
head?
Travis Stevens did the same thing. It's like, why do I need to go get punched in the face? I can make just as much grappling. It's like,
Exactly.
it's not worth it.
No, totally not worth it.
I saw a post from you guys, I think, I don't know, a couple of months ago saying that you guys already have given away $500,000 to the athletes.
That's going to be more than that. So
That was probably midway through the year. We
Right,
hit
right.
We hit $500,000. The goal for the year was originally $1 million.
we're not going to get there.
We're falling behind.
Do you know where you are now?
I'd have to look. To be honest with you, like we started getting a little bit behind in June or July, and I really like. It's one of those things, man. It's like I set that goal to pay this stuff out, but the pay is based on profits because it's all profit sharing.
Yeah.
Right.
And some of our best markets have been oversaturated, and it's hard to make money, you know? And so it's like we're doing the best we can to pay these guys out. It's always our goal, but if the shows don't hit, we still pay what we say we're going to pay. Like we haven't had we haven't had one show this year that did less than $10,000 in fighter pay, you know. But last year we were averaging like 28, I think, per show, and this year it's probably down to like 24. And I've had to cancel a few shows. And then we really shifted focus this past month on fundraising. And so I kind of just took my eyes
So what do you
off
mean
the
by
ball.
fundraising? Like
For the Hurricane Harvey.
Okay, yeah.
We raised a whole bunch of money for that through our Texas shows. And we saw the auction going on. It's just hit $30,000 in donations.
Wow.
There's 10 families that I know of that we personally wrote checks to, you know, and help them out.
Right.
These people like lost everything. Missy's from Houston. I mean, she knows how bad it was. Way worse than, you know, way more than we do. But, you know, we help these people get back on their feet, and even a little bit of money here and there helps. But we really kind of shifted our focus into that for this past month. And not really, I'm a little bummed that I'm not going to be able to hit it this year, but it's kind of one of those things, man, where I got to make the right decisions for the business. And, you know, sometimes, you know, canceling a show has to happen if it looks like it's not going to work out and I'm not feeling it, you know, and that, you know, cancel one show and you're trying to pay out $1 million is not going to help.
Yeah,
But I think we'll still probably get to 800,000. I think.
Yes, that's still so impressive though.
We'll probably hit 800 or 900,000. It's just I can't just overpay and stretch because then we won't have anything left for next year. Right. That's how it works.
What's the goal with Fight to Win? I mean, where do you see this ending up?
Oh man, I don't really. I'm more of a think about tomorrow person.
Okay.
I don't really focus on the future too much. Like, we have this old guy that works with us named Gary, and he likes to say the same stuff over and over again all the time. That's his thing.
Yep.
He likes to repeat himself. But one thing he always says, and I've kind of taken it from him too, is that you always need to make enough to where you can do another show. So, like, that's always my goal.
Right.
Like, don't lose so much that you can't do the show next week.
Uh-huh.
That's literally my only goal.
Right.
Whether this lasts 10 years, 20 years, or 10 months.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to keep grinding at it and improving at it and doing my best at it and getting better at it and more efficient, and hopefully just keep grinding as long as I can. You know, I really wanted to go worldwide with this.
Uh-huh.
And go to different countries.
Yeah.
That was kind of the goal. And we've got something big that's coming out that I can't talk about. It's a TV thing. And
We won't tell anyone, man.
and it's coming out here shortly. And that was my goal. I wanted to go worldwide, and some advisors had told me that is a really bad idea and to really focus in and hone in on the United States.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll run with that play while we're with these people and see how it goes. And then
Do you plan on doing multi, like the IBJJF has, like,
I can't do it.
You can't do multi,
Yeah, it's
right?
insane.
I've tried it.
Tough.
We tried it. We did. We went to Los Angeles on Friday, and we went to Phoenix on Saturday. And I lost our graphic designer. I lost our photographer. I lost my soul.
Did you find them? Have you found them since then?
We had to get new people.
Really?
Well, I wanted to push. It was at the beginning of the year, and last year we weren't touring like this. Last year we were doing like 1 or 2 shows a month.
Okay.
And then this year we were like, fuck that. Let's just do it every weekend.
Okay.
That's essentially what happened. Let's go every weekend except for major IBJJF events and for holidays. That's literally what we said we were going to do. And so we've been doing it for the most part. But we started the year off and it was like, I don't even remember where we started. Houston. Dallas. Then we went to Sacramento, San Jose. Then we went to Los Angeles. Then we went to Phoenix. And it was like boom, 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 boom. But the Los Angeles, Phoenix, I was like, I want to do back-to-back shows. I want to see if I can handle this.
Yeah.
I want to see if the production crew can handle it. I want to see how bad the travel's going to be. I want to push us so fucking hard and see what happens. And, you know, we found out. You know, we lost our graphic designer. We lost our photographer. It was too much work. And physically, the toll that took on me, physically and mentally, and
it was hard.
That's insane.
It was really hard. Like, we went from Phoenix. Half of them flew. Half of us drove to get from LA to Phoenix. And then we got there late. Got there at 9:30 instead of at 8, which was the goal. And I remember it was 5:30, and we weren't done setting up.
We
and
were
doors were
running
5.
with tables.
We're running with
Like,
tables.
Yeah.
And they didn't pack the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So that dirt was supposed to be packed on the ground.
It's a rodeo arena.
It's a rodeo
Okay.
arena. It's a great place. We love that place.
Yeah.
But so it was literally the soft dirt.
Yeah.
Running.
Heavy.
And we're talking
Yeah.
90 tables in Phoenix.
Wow.
And so,
So you bring all the tables?
No. We
Oh,
rent.
just for
we
that
have to
one.
rent
But
that
they-
shit.
Oh, you rent
Yeah.
Drop in stacks, and then
Right.
us as a
Setting
crew
them
have
up.
to set them in their spots.
Yeah, so it was like getting that show accomplished was a nightmare, and it was just I was just like, I remember at the end of it, me and Brittany's the strongest person on the crew, right? So like,
I can tell.
yeah, so she can lift the
Bellator
most,
muscles.
you know, she lifts all the big stuff. I mean, that's what she does. And there's these little bars that are maybe, I don't know, 40 pounds each, and we normally carry like steel beams that are like 200 pounds. And if there's 2 of us, it's probably something that weighs about 300 pounds. Otherwise, we're carrying it by ourselves, right? And me and her are splitting a 40-pound
Yeah.
bar
Hands hurt so
because
bad.
everything hurts so bad, and we didn't get done tearing down till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was just
Well,
like,
why do you have the tables? What is the purpose of the table?
So people can sit at them.
No, I understand.
Watch the show.
As opposed to like, you know, like so like a UFC event but there's just
because
they
it's
just have
more
chairs.
fun, dude. It's
It
a
is.
better
I'm just wondering.
It's a better customer experience to be able to put your arms out. Why don't you just have a fucking chair in here?
Right.
You know
I'm
what
just-
I mean? It's so you can put your stuff down and have your
Nachos.
drink and not have to carry stuff and hang out
Venues.
with your friends. Because that's the whole thing. It's about being together. It's about
Beers,
being
yeah,
a
with
part
your
of something.
team and
If
all
I'm
that,
sitting
yeah.
down here and Missy's sitting down over there, we're fucking 6 feet apart from.
Right.
I'm not going to talk to her all night long.
And
If I'm-
the seating goes like straight up to the cage line. So like I work the camera and Seth gets everybody excited and they beat on
Right,
it.
yeah,
You know,
they beat on the
like,
tables.
to be able to buy a seat that you can be on the stage that you're, whatever's performing on.
Right.
It's a little more VIP than GA where you're sitting back,
Right,
it's a total
right.
another experience.
Yeah,
I've just always
I
been,
agree.
ever since the MMA, even when we were doing concerts, we were doing VIP tables.
Nice.
It's just like when we're going to see DMX like in a few weeks in Denver. I'm buying VIP. Like that's what I want because I don't want to stand. I'm fucking old. I want to watch DMX from a balcony.
Right.
Be a disaster on stage. Like I want to watch that. You know what I mean? Like I'm super fucking excited about it. And I'm one of those people. I don't. I'm not rich or nothing. But like if I'm actually gonna take my ass out of my house. And I'm going to drive 20 miles to park somewhere, and I'm going to pay $10 for parking, and I'm going to have to wear clothes that aren't sweatpants. Like I want to have a good time, and I want to have a good experience.
Right.
And in my opinion, the tables are way better.
Of course, tables are
I
better.
totally agree.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying, as a business part of it, it actually, you probably seat less with the tables, right?
Right.
I mean, if you look at it like that, you probably sell more tickets. You'd have more, less tables.
Yeah,
obviously.
but people want it. People
Yeah,
want
of
to
course,
be. People
yeah.
want to be able to sit together. I mean, like
Right.
it's like when you go to a restaurant, you don't fucking sit, in a line and everybody gives you your food plate.
Right.
You sit at a table and you want to be around your friends so you can conversate and talk.
For sure.
right.
Like Missy, let me ask you. Now, I bought a table, and then I sold tickets to my teammates, and Zito,
I bought a table.
You
as well.
bought a table, but we bought tables like 2 weeks apart from each other, but under the same fighter name. So is that something you look at where you put us together?
Right. Part of my process that I go through as late as possible, I wait for as many people to buy their tickets as possible until I have to really do that report and make a seating arrangement. So everybody that picks the same fighter can sit at the same table.
Good.
Everybody that has a fighter on that same team can sit next to that table.
Right.
And then their affiliates can sit next to that table. And then I do the same thing for the second row.
Because
You're like a wedding planner every weekend.
That's exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a big undertaking, but I mean that's why you get. Were you at the last show?
Yes.
What team are you guys with?
Mineko.
Oh, you're both with Soul Fighters?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So this won't be as good of an example, but for the Bonsai team, right? That got crunk as hell and jumped on stage.
Yes.
Right? Hilarious. First of all, I don't care.
Right.
No problem with that. Whatever. It was awesome. Right? But they were all together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Right.
You know, Arizona's our place where it's like the best place for that because there's like this army of children that are
Yeah,
like
they make
pounding on the
signs.
Yeah, signs to get
I
their
love
belt
them.
signed by the people when they walk off.
That's
like they make
cool.
it a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But like you want that feel, you
Right.
know what I mean? Like I've competed all over the world in judo and stuff like that. And we were just talking about Puerto Rico on the way down here. When I fought in Puerto Rico when I was a kid, that crowd there was so live. Like they would sing and chants and all this stuff like back and forth. You know, so it's like one side of the venue's doing one thing, like,
Right.
and the Dominicans were doing another thing. And that's how the feel we're trying to do. You get the red corner on this side, the blue corner on this side, so you get that. Because when you're up
Yeah.
there and you feel like it's like, I mean, you fought on a crappy event last week, and when you compete, well, when you compete on a crappy event or you go somewhere and there's not a lot of people and you're up there performing. And like last week for you in Tulsa, you know, I call out Brittany and it was like us, like solo clap, right? And then her opponent comes out and they went fucking nuts for Mo, right? So like they were like screaming for her and all that kind of stuff. But when you're both up there and it's both like this,
Yeah.
like it's lame as fuck, dude.
And that's why we know what we
You
were
don't-
talking about.
you don't feel that,
You don't feel it. And
you know?
we were watching ADCC, and you know there was barely anyone at ADCC. Like
It was
the
in
crowd,
Finland, bro.
it was- right?
Yeah.
But one thing that they had to kind of like they were playing background music the whole time. They're just playing like
bad.
80s rock
It was
music.
bad.
The
Yeah.
music was bad, but I like the idea of the
But I like
music
the
going
idea.
on.
We do that during our tournaments.
Yeah.
We do that during tournaments, but
Good.
I like the silence during the match.
Okay.
So the best thing, my favorite thing about the crowds at Fight to Win, other than the mat stuff that we allow to happen, which is by far my I don't even know how that started.
Kurt Osiander.
Kurt Osiander,
Lamb of
absolutely.
God.
Of course.
They went
Of course.
fucking nuts. I told yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And then they threw him the whiskey bottle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So we saw that happened in San Francisco, and we were just like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" So then we were like, "We're going to start encouraging people to do this because it makes it." And Seattle was probably the best crowd we've had that did that all the way around, which is, and you're up there like when Mark Vivas is up there tomorrow night, right? And he fucking does his like gorilla thing. And he
That
pounds
power
on,
up,
he
power up.
fucking pounds on the mat.
Yeah,
that place is going to be going nuts.
Yeah.
and
It's fun.
when you're an athlete, you feel that, man. You feed
Yeah.
off that. That's why the hometown's such a big deal. Or you know, like when you're playing at home for basketball, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And splitting up the seats and making sure that it's irritating to a lot of people, I think, because they're like, well, why can't I get my tickets earlier? Why can't I do this? Because we have to make sure that you're with your people for
Right.
this reason.
Yeah, dude, that's so great that you guys go the extra mile there. I mean, even after everything's already sold out, I mean, you still just sit there and put everyone together.
It's super important to me to get the teammates. I mean, sometimes I fuck up. You know, I've not always done it perfect,
Right.
but it's my goal to get as many of the teammates as close together as possible so they can share that experience.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. You
Right.
know,
Well,
it's
it's
like
100% a team sport.
You know,
I mean-
this is the type of sport where people really have your back, and it's unlike anything else. So having all those people together really maximizes the customer experience.
I mean, I don't even see it like individually they're fighting up there, but without that team support, you can't do jiu-jitsu. I just can't go to my house and do jiu-jitsu. I need someone to train with. I need partners.
Yep.
I need, that has to happen. So without that team,
Well, and
you
that's
really don't have
that's
it.
such the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, though, of why I like it so much more than MMA. In jiu-jitsu, you have, look at our group, for instance. Okay, right? Joel is a homeless person, you know?
What's up,
He's a
Joel?
white belt.
Sitting on the ground over there.
my background is in health and fitness sales, right, in martial arts. But Brittany's a bartender. Missy before this was a computer. What the fuck? Did you
Lean
do?
process manufacturing efficiency expert.
Perfect.
Yes,
Perfect.
So that's what Missy did before this, right? So just right there, you have a massive difference in cultures of how we came up into this. I train at the gym I train at is like the big one in Denver, right? There's like 500 students or whatever. And in a given day, you can have a convict, you can have a police officer, you can have a sick person, you can have a doctor. It's all a mix.
Right.
And at jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Whereas opposed to MMA, they're pretty much all the same thing. They're pretty much all living in one house and selling weed and fighting each other. Well, that's in Denver. So, I don't know how it is in Chicago, but they grow weed and then they go fight. I mean, that's pretty much the fighter life of a Denver area fighter. But
that is true. The MMA mentality and the
it's
jiu-jitsu
just totally different.
Totally
you just
different.
don't get.
It's crazy when I was competing heavy in MMA, and then actually I fought on a couple Seth's promotions before. I would consider us friends or whatever, and then stepping away, and then being versus a heavy competitor, jiu-jitsu competitor, and then seeing the behind it's like, whoa, it is a different world. The way people act in it.
There's still drug dealers in Colorado?
No. So basically, if you live out there,
Oh yeah, there is.
Really?
There are. There's totally
Really?
you still go to Burger King and get it if you want to go there, but
Right, I know, but I mean,
but you can grow. A lot of people out there grow
their own.
and then they can sell it or keep it. Or
They use it
whatever.
as mountain currency. They trade it.
You can also
they
have a
barter.
license to sell it into the dispensary if you grow your own too. So like a lot of those things are more legitimized.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have shitty people that don't have IDs that just buy from their friends.
Right.
Exactly.
So the IBJJF releases their schedule how far in advance typically to the public?
IBJJF.
Yeah.
They have some stuff that's booked out for a year, and they have some stuff they just do in a month.
Oh, really?
They're just as inconsistent as we are.
Now, well, do you have a connection there where they'll hit you up and let you know, hey, Seth?
No. Nobody has to deal with the IBJJF, dude. They do whatever the fuck they want. They don't give a shit about anybody.
So basically, when it goes
and they
public,
shouldn't have to because they're the best.
Right.
When you're the best, you don't have to worry about what this guy and that guy's doing. You just worry about yourself.
I didn't know if there was love amongst
I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah.
We don't have the only people I hate everybody that tries to imitate me. I hate a lot of people, and that's the top on my list of people to kill is everyone that tries to imitate what I'm doing, and I hate all of them. And then I hate
Now,
Naga.
Seth, what is it? I mean, have you felt the repercussions financially from the copycats and the impersonator? Really?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's hard, dude. Our home market is the worst one in the country for us. Going to Houston is our worst market. Yep.
Because of all the copycats.
There's one, and he does one every month or every 6 weeks, and it's ruined the excitement of the. When we first just table sales number wise, okay, in Houston, our first show we did 60 tables. Our second show we did 50 or so. Last one there was a hurricane, but last one we did 32. Okay, so literally in a year and a half, we've lost half of our crowd. Wasn't us.
Right.
We didn't cost ourselves half that crowd. We put on a badass show every single time we go there.
Right.
We know what we're doing.
Right.
It's anything in business school, they teach you the diminishing marginal returns, right? If you do too much of something, then it starts reducing itself. That's life. That's business. That's the way it is. So we constantly have to adjust ourselves to meet whatever the market is demanding.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons that the fighter pay is plummeted. A little bit, because we've had to make some adjustments to make sure that the shows can break even. Because if they don't break even, there's only so much money you can lose until you don't have anything left.
Yeah. I mean, if you're throwing if there's an event every week, I mean, not everyone has $50 to $60 a week to shell out.
This is one of the worst markets too for that.
Chicago,
because of the abundance of events that they have out here. Chicago is one of the harder markets to produce events. We're lucky to the loyalty that we have out here. Chicago has become one of those markets where we've taken people from. So we've brought Mark out places. We've brought Mineko
yeah.
to Philly. We've brought
Nikki.
Patterson out. We brought
Nikki
who?
Sullivan.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you find your markets and you find like, you know, these people are cool.
Right.
We're Sacramento, San Francisco, San Jose, we love Northern California. We bring those people out and they become a little bit more loyal because we pay, you know, you take care of them, you pay for them, you treat them like a professional athlete.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, there's just no comparison in the shows. I mean, loyalty or not.
But it's just like I said, right?
But they're diluting the market.
If an MMA fighter, this is the comparison I used to always make to the local promoter in Denver. If I've got Brittany, right, she's my fighter. She sells $3,000 in tickets, right? I book her. A month later, she fights for a smaller promotion. Okay, those people aren't necessarily going to understand that there's a difference between the two promotions if they're not hip to the game. Right? They're not in on it.
Yeah.
So they're going to go to the other one. So say she sells, say it's in a crappy bar. So she'll sell $2,500 instead of $3,000. Those people go to that bar and they're like, oh man, this kind of sucked.
Right.
You know, like it was all right. You know, it wasn't had fun. We didn't dress up. We just kind of went to the bar and watched some fights.
Right.
The next time she fights for me, once again, those people aren't going to know the difference. Right. Now, half those people aren't going to come. So now she goes from selling $3,000 to $1,250 on my show, right? And now she's making less money on her sales.
Right.
So, I mean, I might be coming off and sounding like I'm bitching and crying about this stuff, but it's something I'm like super adamant about keeping shit fresh. If I wanted to, I could come out here and do a show every 2 months and probably break even. This is a great market for jiu-jitsu, right? But in order to keep it special, you come a little bit less so people have something to look forward to. Look at the UFC. Right? They go to Vegas and they go to where else do they go all the time? Madison Square Garden.
Now they do, yeah.
Right?
But Chicago, they only come once a year.
Right.
Right.
They could come more.
They could.
But what's going to happen to their crowd?
Right.
It's the same thing. So you just got to keep it fresh and you got to keep it exciting and you got to keep doing new stuff. So
how many shows do you plan? Like, do you plan out your year? Like, quantity? How many shows do you guys do a year?
The goal's always 40.
40 shows is the goal. That's what you want to hit every year.
This year we'll probably hit 37.
Okay.
So you're in Chicago right now. How far ahead are you? Like, what city are you?
I'm fighting.
Working on right now.
We're fighting to get a spot for November 3rd. Today's D-Day. If we can't get a spot for November 3rd, we're gonna have to get. Every weekend we don't do a show, we lose $3,000. So it's like,
why is that?
Employee salaries, our lawyers, insurance, website,
just cost of
doing business, man. It cost me $12,000 a month just to run this company, just to pay everybody.
Right.
You know, because if you want to keep good people, you want to have a Missy, you want to have you want to have a Brittany, you want to have these people, you got to pay them.
Right.
That's how it works.
Right.
They got to pay their bills. They got to support their families. You know, and so
Now you're constantly looking for sponsors and people to sponsor the show.
No, I'm bad at it, man.
Are you, Missy? What's going on?
Nah, it's more me than it's. There's really no one to blame other than me. So here's the thing. I only wanted one apparel company, and I wanted one supplement company.
Okay.
And I didn't really think about anybody else. So next year we might try to get other people in, but I only want people that are like passionate. We had a ton of gi companies to choose from, a lot, and we went with Gameness because we felt like they were doing the most in our areas that we were at to help the athletes.
Okay.
And so, if I have, so I say I have Gameness and I have Hayabusa, right? They're not going to get their money's worth.
Right.
They're not going to get their promotional values worth. Now they're not only going to not sponsor me in the future, they're probably not going to sponsor the fighters anymore. So you just got to make sure that you give everybody every fucking dollar that you possibly can, so that you make it worth their while.
Yeah. What about the big companies like Pepsi, Miller
I
Lite,
think with our new partners, I think
producers.
that might be a possibility for next year.
What about Monster?
What's that?
What about Monster? I mean, they get
it's
in.
one of those things, man. It's like, dude, Missy's building fighter list.
Yeah.
Right? Like fucking 20 hours a day, pretty much, building fighter lists and booking travel and doing all that stuff.
Right.
I'm matchmaking 20 hours a day.
Right.
Like, there's only 7 of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody else has full-time jobs or is not capable of doing something like this. Like Evan, who does like lighting stuff. Joel has to sleep, you know? And, you know, Troy's busy being a bum. And so it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's really hard when your focus is so singular that you have to work so hard to get something done to pick up additional stuff.
Right.
But it's definitely something we'll go after a little bit more in the future. But I just want to make sure that whatever sponsorship I do, whatever I do, that people are getting their money's worth.
Right.
That's really important to me, man. Because
you
I turn down people. There's a couple mom and pop clothing companies, and I was like, look, man, I can't take it for less than this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, I understand. Like, if you can't do it, I don't want to take your last amount of money. Like,
Yeah.
there's probably other companies you can make more with.
Right.
You know, if you go and set up, if you're not going to set up a table, like, don't even bother. Don't waste your time.
How do you feel about sponsors on the mats?
We already have them.
You do have them on the mats? Okay. I
Just
didn't know
muscle farm and gameness.
Oh, that's the only.
Yeah, and
okay.
flow grappling. Those
Right,
are the
right.
only people that sponsor us.
Okay.
And next year I might get more when we start putting it out there that we're taking on new sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's one of those things you can get greedy in that game where you take on too much people and then eventually you lose all of them. You know, that's why I thought one of the best things ever for local businesses was when the UFC cut that sponsorship deal with Reebok. I was like, because I have friends that were getting sponsored by people and they're fighting the UFC, and I know what they were getting paid.
Yeah.
And I was like, that person is getting nothing out of that. Nothing. Like, they pay, $2,000 to have their logo. I have a friend that paid $10,000 to have his logo on Shane Carwin shorts.
Okay.
Like, how much do you think he got out of it? That hurts your fucking business. Unless you're like a millionaire, you know what I mean? And you just don't care and you're just throwing away money.
Dynamic fastener, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's a perfect example.
Right.
Dynamic Faster has 518 likes on Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
And how much are they paying UFC athletes?
Yeah, tons.
And people are just hands out, taking their money, taking their shit, right?
Right.
And it's like, that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, like, if you're a major company, I guess it's okay, but these
Right.
local companies, man, that shit'll kill them.
And they think they're going to do well, but
Right.
they don't know because they see all these big companies like, oh, they're promoting Nike, but these little companies think they're going to get a return on investment, but there is really very, very low return.
Right. Nowadays, when they sponsor a UFC fighter, for instance, like my Kat Zingano is like my little sister, right? And she was sponsored by Nissan for a while. And she would always take pictures with her and her Nissan and at a dealership and do autograph signings. That's fucking worth so much more than just having a logo on somebody.
Right.
It's worth so much more.
Right.
And I feel like the local businesses and small businesses are getting a lot more of that now than they
Yeah.
were. It's probably not as good for the fighters, but it's better for business.
Right.
You see Fight to Win Pro ever being on cable TV?
Well, not for the next 2 years and 2 months.
What does that mean?
We have a 3-year contract with
Flow grappling.
Oh, really?
Unless Flow Grappling decides to sell our contract to somebody, then we will be on a major television network for something soon, but it will not be our shows.
Okay.
It'll be something that I did that will be on television. But no, we're on Flow Grappling until 2019. I think we did.
And what do you? I mean, Flow Grappling has been pretty good, right? What do you think about them?
Yeah, they pay our bills. That's
Right.
That's how we survive,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're constantly evolving too. I mean, we were talking about their whole like website and login and all stuff like that, but we would like to see an app based version of their.
They're working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I
That'd be
mean,
really
they're
good.
on Roku and some other stuff now, but you got to understand the thing about Flow Grappling is that a lot of people they see these companies and they think, oh, there's so much money there. There's so much this. There's so much that. Flow Grappling is a lot like us. There's like 4 of them.
Right.
There's Highwell. It's not my fault. He has a dumb name. Ricardo, Chase, and Reed. That is your production team.
Wow.
Right.
That's crazy.
4 people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right,
I
that's
thought
the
it was a lot
marketing-
bigger than that.
Well, I mean, they have techs.
Sure.
They have techs and stuff, but it's not fucking NBC.
Right.
Like, they're growing, but they're smart. They're growing with. I always tell them that they owe us credit for everything that they've done because that Marvin Castile video is what shot them into the stratosphere, and I always try to take credit for that. And they always say it was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
That what happened. That move not only changed
If people don't
Marvin's.
know about it's the Imanari role that he did.
Yeah, he did an Imanari role at
Huntington Beach.
in Huntington Beach.
No, it was Huntington Beach. You're right.
Yeah.
And it was like a 7-second submission.
Yeah.
And the thing that was so special about it was before that night, Flow Grappling was at like 102,000 likes on Facebook.
Okay.
They posted the video and they were over 200,000 the next day.
Wow.
Do you know how expensive it is to get 100,000 likes on Facebook? That's like $60,000 in advertising.
Wow.
To get that many likes. To get real likes, not to get bot likes.
Right, not
to
bots.
get real likes.
Exactly.
Right? And the video got 11 million views.
Beautiful.
In like a week, right? So, I mean, that not only it created Marvin into I remember talking to him. It's like one of my most proud moments. And I mean, all I did was provide the stage, right? I provided the production, provided the deal, provided the stage, but I hit him up for a match with Nikki Ryan, and he was like, "Oh, I can't do it. I'm fucking touring Europe doing seminars right now."
Wow.
And you're like,
And
you're
I was
welcome.
like, "No shit, huh?" And he was like, "Yeah, man." He was like, "That fucking video changed my
my life.
entire life.
Changed his whole life. Of course.
He was like, I like maybe done like 2 seminars at 10th Planet in California, and now I'm booked all summer touring Europe,
It's fucking awesome.
doing fucking seminars."
Yeah.
And that's the kind of shit
Yep.
where it's like, that's a professional athlete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's paying all of his bills.
He
with
is a
jiu-jitsu.
professional athlete now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like the fact that we got to be part of that is huge for me.
Yeah, but he's a good example. Like, that's a guy, I went down to HQ, 10th Planet HQ last year, and we landed on, I think it was like a Sunday. We go down to the gym to meet Eddie, and Marvin's there on a Sunday just repping technique. Like, him and another guy, just Sunday, boom, just going through technique, just constantly going. It's Sunday. It's like, what? Go home, no, man, these kids are just in the gym, and this is why they're at that level. They're just in it, and they're just repping technique. It's not about, like, he wasn't famous at that time. He was, and I was just like, looking at these guys like, man, it's Sunday. Damn, that's dedication, I mean, I train a lot myself, but, I'm not going and repping technique for hours and hours at a time, on an off day or whatever.
And
You got a job, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's also one of those things where that's the difference. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, in judo coming up, I lived at the Olympic Training Center, and what we used to do there is you're looking at a 2-hour practice, right? You're looking at 10 minutes of the game at the beginning, which is this like crazy tackle rugby game that they play with this ball. It's like the most dangerous fucking thing in the world. So we did that for like 10 to 15 minutes. That's the warm up. I'm not kidding. At the Olympic Training Center.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's basically you take a crash pad, right, and you throw it like on one side, and then there's another crash pad on the other. So it's like soccer, but it's like tackle football, but rugby. So you can't throw it backwards unless you're shooting. I mean, you can't throw it forward unless you're shooting. You have to pass backwards.
Okay.
And it's just everybody taking each other down. So it's essentially like, because you're like drilling wrestling. So you play the game for 15 minutes, and that's the warm-up at the Olympic Training Center. And then you do uchikomis, which are just reps.
Yeah.
And you do 500.
Damn.
So 500 reps, right, of whatever technique Coach Liddy calls out, right? And then you're at about 200 throws on the crash pad. And then at the end of practice, you're at maybe 3 rounds on your feet and 3 rounds on the ground. That's it.
Wow.
I mean, you're talking maybe 30 minutes alive at the Olympic Training Center. You know what I mean? And an hour and a half of fucking drills.
Yeah.
That's the difference between being the best and being, doing it as a hobbyist.
Right.
We're hobbyists.
Right.
Me and you're
Yeah.
hobbyists. We're fucking
Right.
old.
Right.
We're never going to win anything.
No.
That's how it is. We win Masters Worlds, Masters 4. Is that
Right.
where we're at now? Who fucking cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? We care, because we have to train for it, and that's the
Right.
best we're going to get.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But these guys, they can become Gordon Ryans and stuff
Exactly.
like that. It's a whole different mentality that we were too late to the game for. If we would have started when we were 16, 17, we might be where they're at now.
Yeah.
But now it's fun to watch these kids do this shit.
Yeah.
It is. It is. How do you guys split up the card with the kids and the young adults and then the masters? How do you split that card up? How's that usually split
That's
out?
That's all me, man. That just comes from looking for the best people.
Okay. So you don't have like, okay, I need 5 kids. I need 5. You just, whatever the card.
Some cards
you lay it
had,
out.
so we had some good. San Antonio had like 5 kids matches, and I put him in the middle of the card because we had Cole Abate on the card, who's the best kid in the world.
Wow.
And so I was like, I want to feature Cole. I want him fighting when the most amount of people are there so people can see how amazing this kid is.
Yeah.
Right? And then tomorrow we have 2 kids matches in Minneapolis. We don't have 1. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
just-
I don't care who's on the card. I don't care if it's more important to me to, like I said, to get the right people.
Right.
Get the right matches. That's really important too, man. Like,
Yeah.
when, like, no offense, but you got fucked over last weekend. To put a blue belt with a purple belt in a professional manner, like with just the 2 of them on stage, that's fucking ridiculous. And let me tell you why it's fucking ridiculous.
Right.
Because not only to get a blue belt, you only have to attend 80 classes, which anybody can do in 6 months, except Q, who's been our truck driver. He's been a white belt for 8 years. And Anybody can get a blue belt. It's not hard to do. No offense to you.
No
okay?
offense taken.
To get a purple belt, you have to commit to the game. You're in about 4 years, right? But not only that, and this is the reason why I don't allow white belts and I don't allow blue belts on the stage, okay, is that there's a lot of pressure that comes from you being the only match going on and people watching you. There's posters that are made. There's your friends and family that are coming out. There's the adrenaline. There's the crowd. There's the music. There's the lights. There's all that stuff. And the butterflies you get in a regular tournament are amplified times 100 when you get up there on that stage. And the more practice you have of doing tournaments and getting that experience will help you when you get on that stage.
Sure.
My biggest fear, and this happened at our first fucking show in the first match that we ever did, is that a kid went out there and they were gray belts. This is when we allowed gray belts on the show, which was only 2 shows.
Yeah.
They were top level gray belts, and one of them got fucking headlocked and tapped, freaked out, right? Quit doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years.
What?
Yeah. He lost in front of all of his fucking friends and all of his family.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready to be out there.
Right.
And I thought he was because he was a wrestler, and he's a really good wrestler. It's funny because he's the commentator for Colorado's kid, Tim Carrier's son. And he's like a really good friend of mine. And the kid's friends with my kids and all that. And it just like freaked out.
Yeah.
Freaked out about it. He wasn't ready for it. And I feel like mat time is the most important thing when getting ready for this stuff. That's why I encourage people to do the IBJJF tournaments, to do your local tournaments. Go out there and compete. You know, I mean, grappling industries can suck a dick too. But if you go out there and you do these tournaments, you're going to get more experience and you're going to be more ready for that stage.
Yeah.
And putting a purple belt that has 4 years of competition background against a blue belt that might only have a year or 2 years, just skill-wise, it's not only dangerous, but it's fucking terrible for the blue belt. The chances of that blue belt making it to a purple belt, not saying you, but in most cases, it's so fucking slim.
Right.
Because it's hard, man. Losing sucks, dude. You know, I lost in MMA fights, and I feel like that hurts a little bit more. You know? It hurts your heart more because you put more into an MMA fight than you do a jiu-jitsu match.
Course, right.
But for people that have never done this, I say that on the mic when I'm talking to the crowd. I'm like, a lot of these guys have never competed on a stage like this before. They're not used to the crowd. They're not used to the adrenaline. They're not used to this environment. Mm-hmm. So make sure no matter what happens, you give them energy and you make them feel good about it.
Yeah.
Because it hurts, because when you lose, you literally feel like you let everybody down. Mm-hmm. But in actuality, nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares if you win or lose. But you do. And if you go out there and you have a bad experience and you're overmatched, you know, that's not your fault, to be honest with you. It's not your fault you lost last week. That's the fucking promoter's fault. You know, maybe you are Roberto Jimenez. Maybe you can fight with purple belts. I'll put Nicky Ryan up against a fucking black belt because I know he's ready for it, because that's matchmaking. That's doing the time to research each person, watching their videos, watching their styles, watching how they interact with social media. Can they handle pressure? Can they promote themselves? Are they ready for that? And if you don't take the time to do that, you're hurting the athletes.
Right. No, that makes sense. I mean, I took it, you know, I just like to compete. I'm that type of mindset. So I like to compete.
Right, but that's different than setting somebody up for failure.
Right. That's very true.
That's not right.
Plus, what does the purple belt have to win out of that?
Yeah.
That's why I get all the messages all the time. Well, I'm a brown belt. Can I fight a black belt? Yeah, because that's really good for that black belt on the stage to be wearing a black belt and lose to that brown belt.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't do this to make anybody look. The first show we ever did, I put a brown belt in a no-gi, which I would do all the time. I'll mix belts in no-gi. One belt. Am I on?
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry. So I'll mix a belt like purple and brown, maybe if I have someone that I know is like super legit, you know, or brown and black if I have it. So I had John Combs, who beat Steve Patterson. John Combs was fighting Scott Miller or Brad Miller. Which one is it? Scott Miller.
Scott.
And Scott was a black belt. John was a brown belt, but he was like the guy in Colorado. Like he just won Pans. He just won Worlds. And he was like really close to his black belt. So I let him go out there and he fought Scott Miller. And he guillotined Scott Miller in about 3 minutes. And I was so worried about Scott. Because I was just like, fuck, man. You know, but no one really knew, you know, but because they're not wearing gis. But like, think about that. If you're wearing a gi and you're Nick Sim. You're Nick Sim, right? Okay. You're going out there and you're Nick Sim and you fight Asher.
Right.
Asher's a bad motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? We all know that.
Right.
Could Asher beat Nick Sim? Maybe. Asher's fucking one of the top guys in the state. Nick doesn't compete that much. You know, Asher's the real fucking deal, right? So Asher goes up there and beats him, right? We all know that in the community. Yeah, it makes sense. What about the people in the crowd that don't know anything?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How does that look for the black belt that owns a school? We're not doing this to try to fucking make anybody embarrassed.
Right.
We're trying to build them up. And even in a loss, like, you shouldn't feel bad. You should be an example for your team. But, you know, if you lose to a lower belt on that stage, like, there's nothing to gain out of that.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it.
I like the way that you guys look at it like that. I mean, we do the same thing with the podcast. Some guests come in and they're really nervous, and we just say, like, we're not here to make you look bad, man.
Right.
If you say something stupid, we'll take it out. You know, just fucking relax and chill. And
Did you get the thing where I said grappling industries can suck a dick?
Yes.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that in there.
Yeah.
I heard you give a pep talk to all the fighters before the card starts. No, so someone lied to me.
I used to do that in the very beginning. We used to do that. It was like I do it at weigh-ins. I do a little speech at weigh-ins now where I have all of them.
You used to do it for MMA.
I used to do it for MMA. We used to do a team thing. We're like, you know, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But with the jiu-jitsu thing, I changed the check-in times. And so it's like in MMA, you do the commission there, and so it's like, all right, everybody has to be here by 5 o'clock. So everyone's there.
Right.
With this, it's like kids get here at 5, purple belts at 6, brown belts checking at 7, black belts at 8.
Yeah.
So that way the black belts aren't having to be there for fucking 6 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just not doable anymore. But I do a little speech for him at the weigh-ins where I just kind of talk to him about what our goal is and what our mission is, and try to get them to not freak out when they're out there.
Yeah.
You know, try to tell them, like, look, when you go out there, this isn't like, unless you fight MMA, it's not like a normal experience that you probably had before. You're going to have adrenaline that you might not have had before. You might go out there and you might get exhausted quickly, you know, because that's what happens, you know, and don't think of it as, oh, I didn't train hard enough, or I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. It's just your fucking adrenaline.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So focus on your technique and put your technique above your fucking anxiety and your freaking out and all that stuff, and just focus on your technique. Do what you came to do, and don't worry about the crowd. Don't worry about anything else, and just play your game and try to have fucking fun. That's what I always tell them. Try to smile, have fun. Whenever people come and see me or say what's up, like on their way up the stage, that's the only thing I ever tell. I never tell them good luck.
Yeah.
Never tell him, you know, kick his ass, because honestly, I don't give a fuck who wins matches. I mean, I'd love to see Mark win tomorrow.
Right.
Just because Mark's the homeboy. Like, he's going to bring us hot dogs.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, even in that fact, right? Mark's a big ticket seller. He's the hometown guy.
The
I'd
place
love
will
to see
just
him
go
win,
nuts.
but
Yeah.
he's not matched up very lightly.
No, he's got
Tomorrow,
a tough.
he's
tough
fighting one of the
match.
best dudes in the world.
Right.
And you know why he's fighting the best dude in the world? Because that's who he asked
That's
to
what
fight.
he asked for. Yeah, he was on our podcast a few episodes
He asked
ago.
to fight Casio, and he asked to fight Megaton. Those were the two matches he wanted. That was it. He said, I'll fight whoever you want me to, but if you can get me either one of these two. And when you have a guy that asks to go to war like that, you have to give him what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're not asking for, because there's a lot of guys out there that don't want matches like that.
Yeah.
That are afraid to lose in front of their people.
Sure.
And your team can learn just as much from you losing a match as they can from you
100%.
winning a match. Probably even more. But you know, that's why I just try to tell them, like, just have fun, man. Enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Like, just, you know, take your time on your walkout. Let the fucking smoke hit you. Let your video wall. Get some good pictures. Smile. Like, you know, this is for you. This isn't for us. This is for you. So just try to have a good time and not hold on to all that anxiety.
Right.
You know?
Have you had Megaton on a card yet?
I've had his daughter on 3 times.
Right.
So, no. Megaton, I've tried to work with a few times. You know, awesome dude. It just hasn't worked out. There's a lot of people like that, though. Yeah. I mean, we still have a list of people that from day one that we still want to get on the show. Right. I mean, a lot of them we can't now, but we've had pretty much everybody. I mean, there's a handful of Masters competitors I'd like to get. I love to put Masters on.
Yeah.
Because they're not really featured too much on the other shows, and I love watching them, dude. Just because I'm old.
Yeah.
Sanji wants on.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
I mean, I'm an older guy.
How old are you?
36. Okay. But I mean, in the jiu-jitsu world, you know, I mean, this is the age of the Gordon Ryan, Gary Tonin, Nicky Ryan.
Yeah,
like,
right.
this is the age of the kids taking over now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's cool to see the guys like, I mean, even Lovato's getting up there, you know, he's in his 30s. And, you know, like those are the guys I'm really focusing on trying to bring into the spotlight, even though, you know, some of the kids are super awesome to have up there. And I mean, like the 20-year-olds. But like there's still a handful of guys I'd like to get on the show, legends I'd like to get on, but a lot of times I just can't afford them. I can't afford to put Renzo Gracie on a show as much as I'd like to. I can't afford to put Marcelo Garcia on a show. I can't afford to put, you know, some of these guys. I can't afford to put Jacare on a show. It's just how it is. It's the business.
Yeah.
You know, as much as my ego wants to, as much as my ego wanted me to just break the bank and book fucking Renzo Gracie for New York, I can't afford it. I got to make smart business decisions, and that's why I have to control the matchmaking.
Have you guys, and forgive me if this is a stupid question, but have you guys ever considered doing like city versus a city card, like Chicago versus New York?
Okay, so that happens in small markets all the time.
Okay.
Last weekend was pretty much Tulsa versus Oklahoma City. But
And did you market it like that?
No.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that.
Right.
Because there was people from Arkansas, there's people from Texas,
Okay.
there's people from Colorado on the show. So, but no, I wouldn't really do that. I mean, you got to have more local people in order to be able to fill the seats out to be able to pay the show. I did that in MMA once. I did a Colorado versus Nebraska card. It's one of the best shows I've ever done. It was also like one of the worst attended shows I've ever done.
Really?
So, like, also you got to think about the travel costs on that. How much is New York to Chicago? $300?
You got to fly 30 people out for that.
Yeah, it's fucking 9,000 plus, and you got another fucking 6,000 in hotels. So now you're at 15,000. Our operating cost per show is about 30,000.
Yeah.
So now you're at 45,000 without paying anybody.
Yeah.
So
Shit adds up.
what sets the limit of fights? Like, did you always have 30-something fights?
There's a time that I look at on how I feel based on the market of how the crowd's going to react.
Okay.
And when I'm going to lose the crowd.
Right.
So my goal is to keep the crowd through the whole show. Some markets like Denver will do like 26 to 28.
Okay.
But it's all time. It's a timing thing.
Yeah.
So like Denver doesn't go past 10. Chicago doesn't go past 10:30. Jersey will go to 11. Philly will go to 11.
Okay.
But you don't really know until you go there. So we always just try at the first one. It's like 30 matches, 3 hours or 4 hours. That's kind of the goal of where I'm always around trying to be. Generally that's about it, but some markets can last a little bit longer than others. You know, the Northwest and the Northwest and the Northeast tend to be later crowds, and then the Midwest tends to dip out, and especially the South, it dips the fuck out after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So like,
Why is it?
I don't know. It's culture.
Yeah.
But you don't know till you
West
go.
Coast as well, right? They dip out early.
No way, dude.
They go late?
Yeah, West Coast.
Really?
Well, NorCal. We don't do a lot in Southern California. We do a lot of shows in NorCal. We love California.
Oh, yeah?
I love it.
Yeah, NorCal is his shit, dude.
Yep.
NorCal, Seattle is dope too.
Yeah.
And then on the East Coast, Jersey and Philly. Philly's my favorite. Philly, I would say Philly, Chicago, Seattle. No, Philly, Chicago, Seattle, and San Fran are my favorite markets in the country.
Okay.
So you have the venue, and let's say a T-shirt company wanted to come by and set up a booth there. Are they paying you now, or are they paying the venue?
They're paying me.
They're paying you.
Unless they're Nick, then I just don't charge him.
Right.
Because he's cool.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We rarely ever have T-shirt vendors. I mean, I'm talking like,
Why not?
why?
Yeah.
Because they don't make their money back. What's the point?
Yeah.
If they're going to pay me $200 or $300, average cost of a shirt for them is probably $7, right? So $13 a shirt. They're going to have to sell like fucking a ton of shirts in order to break even. It's not even the fucking, what's the point? Right. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but I mean, like, I feel like there's other ways that they can sell their shit. And I also don't want stuff at my show that looks like crap. I don't want low quality stuff.
Yeah.
I'll let Just Roll or BJJ, what the fucking name is the company? Is it Just Roll or BJJ?
BJJTs is the name of the company. Just Rolls the slogan.
Okay. Well, I'll let BJJT set up at any of my shows because they're high quality and people love their shit, and when people leave they wear it on Facebook, on social media, and it becomes part of the event experience.
Yeah.
If I have armbar fight gear there, who the fuck's going to wear an armbar fight gear out to a fucking restaurant?
Right.
You know, or caged aggression. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Is that a real name?
I don't know.
Oh,
but I sounds good though. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, if it's high quality, it looks good, and I'll I'll usually just let them do it for free because we sell our own stuff too. We'll sell our own branded stuff.
Okay.
So usually it's just us and then Nick.
Yeah.
Sometimes Julie.
Who?
Pressure grappling.
That's different. That's geese. Yeah, like, but it's the same thing. Like, we're the same way, and we'll charge a lot. I'll charge like $300 for a table, just because I want to weed out the crap. Because the crappier companies can't afford. No offense to them. I mean, I get it, but there's other, they got grappling industries and grappling games they can set up at if they want. Lose money there.
What's the biggest disaster you've ran into as far as a fight card?
In fight cards?
Yeah. What's up, Missy? What?
You're
like, where do you start?
Every time we're supposed to have a show that's supposed to be really easy and it's supposed to go super smooth.
It never does, right?
Some crazy thing happens. It's always an adventure.
Fight card wise, we haven't had too many disasters on fight cards. I mean, the only thing that's happened is like some people sometimes will no-show the event, and then we'll just get somebody to do two matches, or
Rusty got his head busted open.
yeah,
the other
last
day.
weekend, dude got his head
Covered in
cut
blood.
open. What they say, jiu-jitsu matches aren't fights.
What about the
Brittany
one
missed weight by 11 pounds last week.
10.
Sorry.
10.
Big bird.
Yeah, and but fight card wise, we really haven't had any major problems. But production wise, we've had some fucking disasters in Jersey. Joel and fucking Evan decided to build the LED wall, and when they built it, it was off-centered by like 6 inches, and they tried moving it once it was already up, and it fucking crashed.
Ouch.
That's a $50,000 LED wall in
Damn.
pieces all over the ground. So we had to rip it all the way down. Is this right? We had to rip it all the way down, and we had people stuck under it too.
What?
So like Joel got stuck under it, Gary was stuck under it, Troy got stuck under it for a
Our
little
Gary,
bit.
not Gary Tonin.
Yeah. So everybody was like, we're literally, and this was an hour before doors.
Wow.
And thing takes a long time to build up. So we had to strip it down and then build it back up. And we delayed doors by 30 minutes and we got it going, but we lost a whole row.
Yeah.
Which is, $8,000 worth of production gone forever.
Right.
Just crashed.
That
was scary.
Who's in the runnings for Fight of the Year so far?
Tonin and Raider was the best fight of the year.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah, it's not gonna,
Yeah.
nothing will beat that.
Yeah.
That was like one of the
Do
best.
you guys
fights I've ever
do?
seen.
I know you guys do submission of the night, but do you do submission of the year also?
Yeah, I mean we'll hit something. I'm sure Marvin will already win though. So I mean,
Right, of course.
no point doing it.
Who's gonna beat that?
Even Mineko's helicopter armbar can't
That was
touch
pretty good.
That was
pretty
good.
That was pretty good.
That was here, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was on the last show
I was on
when
the
he
camera.
mocked the guy.
Oh, you were on the
Oh,
camera?
yeah, I did the camera for the
When he
second.
mocked the guy?
Yeah, he was making fun of him while he was beating him up.
Yeah, he kept saying like, fight me, come on."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like Mineko.
Yeah,
He's cool.
He's a G. He's a gangster.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
He's got a kid on the card that's really good too.
Zane.
Pierre.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
Pieti.
yeah.
Yeah, that kid's a beast.
Yeah, he is. We get to train with him.
Yeah, we work with a lot of soul fighters across the country, especially in Dallas and Formiga in Boston, and then Tanner in NorCal.
So getting like these UFC fighters on the card, is it difficult to talk to them? Do they have to go through managers or not a big
not
deal?
for this.
No.
It's expensive. Depends on who you get.
Right.
The lower level people. Who we have with Jessica I.
Well, Benson Henderson, obviously.
Well, yeah, that's not a low level
But
person.
I
Lauren
guess
Murphy.
Jessica I and
Peggy Morgan. She's not.
Yeah,
she's
Peggy.
Invicta.
But like
Invicta.
that type of stuff, like this is pretty easy to get to work with those type of George Sullivan, those type of guys. The higher level guys like with Loyola, Machida, Jake
Yeah.
Shields, like that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
They want to get paid a lot.
The Diaz brothers getting
I've
those
tried to
guys.
work with them a few times, but I mean, unless they're like Ben Henderson, right, is a good example. Dude just loves to compete.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he loves to compete, can't fight, and that kid can't fight enough. So like, but he wants to get compensated.
Okay.
Nick Diaz made like what $3 million in his last fight.
Right.
Well, why the fuck would he want to do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Unless he just loves it. Unless it's like that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or when you look at what you're doing and the reason why you're doing it, like you said, I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it because I want to promote the sport. If you find the jiu-jitsu community that all wants to do that and you present to them in that way, maybe maybe money wouldn't be a factor for them if they understand what your
it's always
background.
a factor when it's those type of people because they've earned it.
Yeah.
They're professional athletes, and professional athletes want to be paid as a professional, and I get it.
Yeah.
It's just not always doable.
Right.
But our focus, like I've always said, it's not about. It's cool that we do like the Ben Henderson shit and the Gary Tonin and stuff like that, but it's more about building up
the local communities.
The Aaron Brooks, the Antoine Evans, those guys.
Speaking of Aaron Brooks, how come you won't let him change his walkout song?
Aaron can't change his walkout song because it's one of my favorite ones, and it's become like
what did he want to switch it to?
Aaron wanted to switch it to "You Can't Touch This" by MC Hammer, and I'm forcing him to walk out to Olay because that's what he's walked out to the past 2 times, and he owns it when he walks out to it. And it's like, honestly, it's like one of the things I look forward to most about this show. I'm not kidding. Like whenever I see the list and Aaron Brooks' name is on there, I'm like, Olay. Fantastic.
He lied to me. He texted me and said he wanted to come out to Stone Cold, the Shattering Glass and shit.
Yeah, I told him no.
Yeah.
And, plus he's on a 2-fight win streak, and I don't think you should ever change your walkout song when you're in the middle of a win streak. I think it's bad luck. Mm-hmm. But he, I feel like Aaron's one of those kids that we can turn into a star and, take him all over the country if he keeps winning, and maybe have him fight for titles. And it's just one of those things. You got to build a brand. Because there's people. It's not just about the people in the crowd, even though our production is definitely based towards the crowd versus online.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's 20,000 people that watch these events live. And we have people that are Aaron Brooks fans like all over the country. And I'm trying to help him build his brand. So it's just kind of one of those things, man, where it's like sometimes fighters know what's best for him and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
As far as the Pro 13, the first card here in Chicago where it was outside, that was last minute. You guys did really good considering, the time crunch. One of the biggest complaints we heard, actually the only complaint we heard, was how slippery the mat was, right?
We had to dry it off with towels, hand
Joel
towels
right there,
all
right?
night long.
I was wearing this.
Yeah, Joel was I think it might still be his Facebook profile picture. They're smiling, just like it was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
we had no idea. I mean, when you
how would you know?
No, like I never been to Chicago. I've been to Chicago like to visit when I was a kid, right? But like, if you don't live here, how are you supposed to know how humid it is?
Right.
It doesn't sound like a humid place.
Right.
You go to Houston, it's humid. You go to New Orleans, it's humid. Florida, it's going to be humid, right? I don't think Chicago, the humid city. It's the fucking windy city, right?
Right.
So like, yeah. So
that's awesome.
So it was just one of those things where we just kind of had to adapt, and we tried everything.
Right.
We tried mops. We went to the store. We got different kinds of mops. We tried T-shirts. We tried towels.
Yeah.
There was just fucking no way to make it. And then we finally figured out a system to where it would work, kind of. And Steve Patterson tried to slide on the stage and just
And he got stuck.
Yeah, that's that picture we have of him jumping in the air. Right. He tried to slide it, he just like bounced and skidded on it. But no, that was a nightmare, dude.
Because the outside show is so badass, and I would hate for you guys to never do one again.
I would never do one again.
You wouldn't?
No, it's fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare for production.
So, I mean, what was it? It was the sun was beaming down on the mat all day, and then when it cooled off...
It was just humidity.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was the...
So there's no way to do it? You wouldn't do it in another city somewhere?
No, because honestly, our equipment is not made to be outside.
Okay.
The lights... Most of everything we do is LED, and LED lights are not supposed to go above 86 degrees. Around 86 degrees, and then they start flickering out. So you're not supposed to, like...
Right.
But because our shit's not made for outside.
Right.
If it was outdoor stuff, it would be a different story.
Right.
But we would have to replace all of our lights in order to do it. And like one bad rain, one gusty wind, I could lose $100,000 in equipment.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not worth it.
Right.
Although someday I'd like to do one on top of a battleship. So that would be cool at some point. But it was just like what we did out here. We didn't use a tenth of our stuff. I mean, if
like
you went to 13,
like an army one? You want to do like an army, like U.S. Air Force type?
Well, probably not the Army. I don't think the Army has a bunch of naval ships.
Air Force would do it, right? Yeah. Air Force. They have Air Force carriers, right?
Yeah.
Naval carriers, right?
Yeah. Air Force or Navy.
But you could
I don't
bring
think I'll do a
you-
Marines one either.
But you could bring in like people who do jiu-jitsu from all over.
Well, we were going to do one in San Francisco on top of a battleship last year. That was our
San
plan.
Francisco. San Diego would be a good place as well because they got all those ships.
San Francisco, we found a spot, and then it just didn't work out because the logistics were really tough of getting the trailer on top to unload it.
Yeah,
was just a fucking nightmare. So
yeah.
I didn't do that, but that's a cool idea. I'd like to do that at some point. But for the most part, I mean, being indoors is much safer business wise.
Yeah, but support the troops would be, UFC even does that.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about doing one for the military. I'm just talking about doing one on a military.
Oh, just doing one on.
boat.
Just doing it for.
I wouldn't even, man. To be honest with you, I wouldn't do one of these. Like as a I've done military shows. I used to work for the USMC in California.
Okay.
So we used to go out there and do MMA shows for them. I know that fucking crowd, and that crowd would not be down for this jiu-jitsu shit.
Oh, really?
No.
Too.
Those guys like fucking violence, and they like blood, and they like fucking drinking, and they like partying, and they're awesome. Like, it's super fun crowd.
Right.
We did 29 Palms and Camp Pendleton. When we were promoting MMA shows, and it was free for all the military. And it was $1 beers.
Oh, wow.
We had 5,000 people there.
Damn.
And they were going fucking ape shit. And I could just see how negatively a jiu-jitsu thing would go with it.
Right. They don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, you'd just be like yelling at him,
Right,
yelling gay shit at him. So I'm gonna go and pass on that one.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right, I know it's getting kind of late. You guys got to get.
Guys, thanks a lot for making the time. I want to give a quick shout out to Nick Mitra from BJJTs for setting this up, putting it together.
Nah, fuck
Thanks,
that guy.
man.
Yeah, fuck that guy, right?
Missy, any last thoughts?
No.
Any shout outs?
You guys haven't mentioned Missy's hair. Isn't that incredible?
It's insane. Yeah.
There's 3 animals that live in there.
Yeah. People try to touch my hair sometimes.
Yeah.
They try to touch it?
Yeah, for anyone listening, don't touch Missy when you come to get your tickets. Don't try to touch her hair. Just get your tickets and go to your
It's
seat.
weird.
Yeah.
Why would they try touching your hair?
I don't know, man. Guys, look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of it. Sure.
Yeah. It's
But
one
I
of
would
the-
never think of like, oh, let me touch your hair.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of
that's
those
weird.
things that we always talk about is like, people try to touch Missy's hair. Old men hit on Britney.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Offer me money.
Yeah, people offer Joel money because they think he's homeless. Nobody ever tries to sexually harass me.
Aw.
That's
One
like
day
the-
it'll
We're
happen,
trying to
Seth.
get Seth raped.
Yeah, so we don't know if it'll ever happen, but
Yeah.
as it happens now, I am yet to be sexually harassed or assaulted.
Finger guys.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good thing.
I guess.
Do you guys play the national anthem?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Has anyone taken a knee yet, or what's going on?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't really watch what the crowd's doing.
Uh-huh.
It's like I'm watching the flag.
Yeah.
But
You're a true patriot.
Yeah, like a true patriot.
Yeah.
And then I have to start preparing the show halfway through the song.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know.
Is it a live, or is it just a recorded national anthem? Someone's
Yeah,
not singing it,
I
right?
bring in
What's her name?
Leanne Rhymes. Every show, Leanne Rhymes. You don't see her though because she's backstage.
She's a little shy. She's shy these days.
Yeah, so I have Leanne Rhymes perform it on the microphone. Yeah, she's real consistent though. She sounds the same at every show.
That's
Have
fantastic.
you ever had someone sing?
Yes.
Yeah, we had this little kid do it a few times in Denver, but I mean, dude, we run on such a tight schedule.
Yeah.
Like, I announce. I don't even hire an announcer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it saves me like 18 minutes. We figured out
Yeah.
by me announcing. So you don't have somebody walking up the stairs and walking down, and that adds up to 18 minutes over the course of 30 fights. That's why when we went to 25 to 30, it was because I started announcing, and we're like, oh shit, we can save 18 minutes, put a few more fights on there. So
Right. Now, one thing that we didn't get into that I really want to talk about is the judging. Can you talk about how you judge the fights and how that all works out?
Yeah, whoever sold the most tickets wins.
There you go, guys.
All right, so I tell them all this. It's like this, right? So basically, we bring in one judge, the head for the main event. He's in charge.
Yeah.
Like we bring our own, we'll fly him in, right?
Okay.
We have 3 of them. It's Thomas Keenan, who's like I said earlier, like one of the top level black belts, like probably in the country. He'll be one of the big deals this year. He won F2WPRO last year as a brown belt, so he's the real deal. And then Valor Caballero, who's one of my coaches, and Robert Wunderlich, who's like the head
Ref.
for Fight to Win Pro and Fight to Win. He kind of helped me create the rule set.
Okay.
Right. So we bring in the main ref always. Right. So there's always one unbiased person, no matter what, doesn't know anybody. So you always have that.
Right.
So that's one. So the way the judging criteria is based is I'll compare it to boxing. That's the easiest way to do it. So if you are in a boxing match, right, and you're in a 1 round fucking boxing match, and I fucking hit you and you go down for an 8 count, right? No matter what happens, the rest of the round, I'm gonna win that fight because you almost went out,
Right.
right? Yeah. Now, say we're boxing and you're hitting me with some jabs, but I'm hitting you with a bunch of crosses and a bunch of hooks, right? The person throwing the crosses and the hooks are going to win, right?
Right.
If neither of us are doing anything except throwing jabs, then whoever throws the most jabs is going to win. So it's kind of based like that. So whoever's closest to, if you're almost finishing a submission,
Yeah.
you're going to win, most likely, if you're close to finishing. Okay.
Right.
If you're attacking a lot and you're not getting anything, and the other person's not getting anything, but you're attacking more than they are.
Right.
Legit attacks, not just like,
Half-assed.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
you're going to win. If nothing is going on or you're both attacking the same amount, or you're just wrestling, like whoever gets the best positions wins, I guess. Like that's where it gets gray.
It does.
That's the
Where it's
only
like a
ones
coin
that
toss,
are really
right.
a gray area, because it's just like an MMA fight. It's like who won.
Right.
And some people get all up in arms about some of the decisions, but when we're up there, we hire enough refs to have someone that's not affiliated with either grappler up there on the stage. Mm-hmm. So there's 3 refs per match. There's the head referee and the 2 side judges.
Right.
Right. And at the end of the round, if there's no victory, it goes to judge's decision. And we do the hantai
Right.
with the flags.
Exactly.
Right. So best out of 3 wins. So that's pretty much how it's based.
And those judges, they don't sit together, or they do sit together?
No.
They're sitting in different areas.
One
of the
is
ring.
on this mat, and the other 2 are at separate tables.
Separate tables.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they don't talk to each other.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
you even take them off the screen so they can't see what the other judges do?
I did before we got all of our stuff stolen and lost our placeholder.
Oh, really? And how do you choose your announcers? Like,
I
guys-
announce the show.
I mean, I'm sorry, your commentators.
They got to talk to Missy for that.
Oh, really? Missy, who do you choose for your commentators? Like each city, obviously, you're not bringing. You got
For the most part, people that I like.
Cool.
People that don't get on my nerves
that's good.
are my favorite. People that ask to do it over and over and over again, it's an instant no, and a no forever, as far as I'm concerned. I like to have people.
Hey, who's doing this one? Blake?
Blake is doing this one?
Yeah,
Who else?
Blake, good guy.
Blake, and the other one is a secret now for now.
Oh, okay.
It's not that big a deal, but it's going to be funny.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is
It's not Pete the Greek.
Literally just about to ask.
I know.
Pete the Greek's the reason I'm the announcer now. That's true.
He's the best.
He was in Vegas.
He's the best.
And he was in Vegas, and he was like, "Oh, I want to be the announcer for the show," because Jeff Glover was on the card.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, Jeff wasn't on the card. He was just."
Jeff came to announce Bill Cooper was on the card. That's the time we
Oh,
thought
okay.
we lost Bill Cooper, but he was actually not lost.
Yeah. I was going to have to fight Dustin Akbari and get murdered again. And Pete goes up there, and I wrote the script out for him. Like, this is how you say it. This is what you say. And he goes up there and he goes, yeah, red corner, blue corner, a fight. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what are you doing? I was like, lost my shit, dude. I was like, we're in Vegas, bro.
Right.
And I'm just like, nope. And so like from there, I like grabbed the mic and I was like, I'll just do it myself.
Right.
And I like started doing it, and then I was like, started kind of having fun with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, thanks, Pete. You saved me like fucking $300 a weekend.
He was funny on the commentary for
No,
sure.
that's why we moved him to commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Like,
he's funny as shit.
Yeah.
like, we'll keep you there. I'm going to go ahead and announce the show.
Big toe in the butthole escape. I'm telling you, it's real. You got to hit it right there.
Yeah, well, it's better than Kurt Osiander's commentary. Did you guys watch that one?
I didn't catch that one.
Oh my
though.
gosh.
Yeah, Kurt got pulled off before they got to the black belts.
He said some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Did he? What number was that?
It was the San Jose match, which
Sacramento.
Sacramento. They ended up taking like the commentary off of it entirely because of
Really?
Yeah.
they just shut it off.
Wow.
Was he drinking?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were buying his drinks.
Of course you were.
I just got a message that says, "Hey, can you get Kurt off, but make it fun?"
Yes,
Right.
for me. 'Cause I don't like dealing with awkward situations, and Missy has no awkward level.
Right.
Like to her, she doesn't give any fucks. So like I give some fucks. So it's like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and Missy doesn't care about people's feelings at all.
Yeah. Good
So,
cop, bad cop.
yeah.
You guys are a good team.
Hey, it is what it is. It's how it works.
We do that a lot in certain things. Things that he's very talented at, I can be good. We switch that role. But the reason that I give no fucks in certain situations, there's only 7 of us on this crew. Every dollar that goes away is something that we don't get to share
Right.
with ourselves or the athletes.
Right.
Every person that thinks, "Oh, you can just let me in for free." I mean, it's constant.
Yeah.
I have to let people know, don't even ask, because people ask a lot.
And with Kurt, it was one of those situations where it's like, I hired him, I knew what was going to happen, and I didn't want to have to fire him.
Right.
So I was just like, hey, can you pull Kurt off the microphone but make it fun and then go get him hammered? And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. So like he's backstage and I was like, you almost made it. And he was like, I won. He's like, yeah.
He goes, "Did you pull me, or did I get kicked off, or like did I get kicked off, or did you really want to get a beer?" I was like, you got kicked off.
Nah, he was being ruthless with. It was funny too because like he was saying a bunch of racist and sexist stuff, and cussing like a ton, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Can you cuss on there? You can, right?
Yeah,
you don't
like,
like
they
it?
don't really want.
They don't really
not
want
like
it.
Curtis
I mean,
Sanders.
ish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Ish. Right. Yeah.
And Kurt was like, she finishes her with a muff choke. And,
Oh,
he was
God.
like, this kid's black athleticism is going to get him through this. And was it
The Mexican kid, he's
Yeah.
folding him like a taco.
Yeah. The guy comes out and he goes, he said, he's like, this guy's black athletic, but, I think this guy's a Mexican. It was just like I mean, like I didn't find any of it offensive,
Right.
Like, but I wasn't listening to it.
Of
Just like
course.
the stuff that they were telling me, I thought it was hilarious,
Right.
Because I was just like, I just don't look at that stuff.
Right.
And then he called his own student, who's Vietnamese, a dog eater. And Flo Grappling was like, get him off the fucking mic now.
It was funny because like I do the camera for the second half of the show, and like we all have friends in jiu-jitsu. Some of my friends that were like in Colorado were like, "Oh my god, can you hear the commentary?" I'm like, "No, because I'm on the camera."
And so I'm like a quarter away through the show, and Chase Smith, who's like the production manager for
Right.
Flow, is like, you got to keep a leash on Kurt. And I was like, y'all promoted him commentating. You know what we're looking at,
Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, well, you tell him he needs to cut back on the racial, the sexist, and the swearing.
Right.
I was like, I'll try. And so I went over there and I had Natalie, who's the camera woman. She goes, you got to stop saying sexist, racist, and swearing so much. And he goes, you got to pick one. He was like,
Can't do all three.
He's like, can't do all three. Just pick
which
one of them. She's like, I guess the cussing. He's like, well, these fucking people want me to fucking say what's on my fucking mind. And he was like, I was like listening to it, and I was just like, oh my god, dude. And Gary, like our video guy's just fucking
He's
dying.
dying. So we're all mic'd in. The camera crew's all mic'd in, and he's Gary's sort of by Seth. And we're finding out like second relay that
He's like, here's what he said.
Yeah, and
Can you
we're like,
believe he said this?
"Ah!"
It went nuts. So that was when we learned we can no longer hire Kurt Osiander to do commentating. But it was fun while it lasted, I guess.
Sure.
That's funny, man.
That is funny. Isn't he coming to Chicago soon?
Yeah.
Right?
Seraphin's hosting them.
Yeah, that's right.
When?
A couple
Next
of
month,
weeks or something
I think,
like that.
yeah.
He's a good dude.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Kurt's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I always saw him compete. We went to Master Worlds, we saw him.
I can tell you which people in this community are good people and bad people, and that's a good one.
Yeah.
Kurt's a good
Yeah,
dude,
he's
man.
a cool dude.
And his people love him.
Who's a bad one?
In this community,
Yeah.
who's the worst? Let's see. Who's a worst well-known person?
James Brasco. He was a dick.
Brasco's very difficult.
He
to
was
work
really
with,
nice to me.
but
he was
he's nice to
extreme.
a lot of us. You know what's funny is that AJ Agazarm,
Yeah.
one of my favorite
Best-
people.
Really?
He's the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's like one of the things where it's like the people that you see out there with the personas can be like, like for instance, Travis Stevens is like really antisocial. So it's not that he's bad to work with. He's just kind of difficult because he doesn't like really put himself out there, and he's very like quiet. Right. You know what I mean? So he's just a very reserved person. You know?
What was the fight? Who got kicked off the stage?
That was AJ.
That was AJ's fight,
Wagner,
right?
Yeah. Well, how did you guys deal with that? Like, because I know they stopped for a second. Like, did they go to you and be like, Seth, what do you want me to do?
Right. Well, you like pick the one thing that I'm sore about talking about.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. So that was kind of, looking back at it now, it really was, it's funny, it was kind of one of the main things that launched us into people really knowing who we were, which in a negative way, but you know, Easy always said all publicity is good publicity. So even though that wasn't, it cost me a ton of money. But so AJ was being AJ, which he hasn't been lately. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
But it's just because like I told him like there's no point in doing this. Like when he was fighting Ben Henderson, I was like, there's no point in writing poems and talking shit. Like he's not going to play.
Right.
Like he doesn't care. Yeah. Like he's not. He doesn't even go on social media. He has a social media person. Like you're wasting your time. Just worry about training. Right. Like quit fucking do. And then he fought Vitor Oliveira, and he's like, well, "You gonna talk shit to Vitor? Have fun when you're done with that."
Right.
You know, that guy's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
But so I had some conversations with him about it. But you know, AJ talked a ton of shit before the match, like a ton about how he was gonna like. I don't remember. Like he was offering autographs of his photos standing over Wagner's lifeless body, and like just a bunch of. He went too far.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I told them at weigh-ins, joking around, that they could slap each other at weigh-ins as a joke because when
at the event you could slap each other.
No,
just
at weigh-ins.
Okay.
I told them they could slap each other at weigh-ins because if Jake Shields slapped AJ,
right,
which wasn't that long before that, so it was like funny. Like, everybody laughed about it.
Yeah,
like it wasn't serious.
Right.
So the match goes on, and Marcos Flores, fucking piece of shit, was the referee, and he goes up there, and Wagner slaps him in the face, like right in the beginning of the match, right? He's the reason we have a referee at every event. Because he, right then and there, if any of my refs were there, they would have stopped it.
Right.
They would have talked to him and been like, knock that shit off.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing that.
Right.
Right. That's simple. Like, it literally would have happened like that.
Yeah.
And nothing else would have happened.
Right.
Nothing. Right? Instead, Marcos just stands there like a fucking moron, and AJ turns around, which he shouldn't have done, given... Right?
Yeah.
He was upset, but it wasn't that egregious of a slap. Like, it wasn't that fucking bad. You know? And
but still a slap,
Wagner fucking kicked him in the back.
Yeah.
Kicked him off the stage. And
I loved it.
AJ, yeah, because you probably hated AJ, but for some of us that didn't hate him,
right,
it was a fucked up experience.
Yeah.
Like, we were there, and because we've never had a problem with him. Like, the dude, like, he's a good fucking kid. He's a little bit, I don't know, he's kind of mama's boy. He's kind of...
Well, I mean, that's part of why I know that he's such a wonderful person. I judge people based on how their students treat them and how they treat their mother.
Yeah.
And AJ treats his mother wonderful. He's a good kid. His students love him, and that speaks a lot to me.
So you got to consider this, though, okay? Half the crowd is Fight Sports. Half the crowd is Gracie Baja. This is his hometown.
Right.
He is kicked into his people.
Right.
There, right? That Tampa crowd was fucking wild. It was one of the most hostile crowds I have ever been in. Yeah. There was only 900, 800 people there, but they were fucking
it was on fire.
Loud.
Yeah.
Like the whole night, because it was literally the fight card was half Gracie Baja, a little bit, and then half Fight Sports and a little bit of Tavares, who's like obviously the easiest growing people. But so it was a weird situation. I honestly didn't see what happened. We were having power issues, and we had a weird situation happen right before the show where a guy tried to scam me and said that he was holding my ex-wife hostage.
What?
I swear to God this happened.
What?
He was like, what did he say? It was like,
I've got Lindsay here. I'm going to shoot her in the face.
I got in a car. She hit my kid who's on a motorcycle, and I couldn't get a hold of my ex. And I was like, all right, let me talk. And this was like right before the show, right? So I was like doing all this. He just sent our drunk driver to to
Western Union?
Western Union, because I was going to wire money because he
Get
was
the
going to kill
fuck
my
out.
ex-wife, right? So I'm like, oh, fuck.
What, he
I
called
mean,
you on your
Asked for
cell
a
phone?
ransom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He called you on your cell phone?
Yeah, and they
How much?
knew the type of vehicle that she drove and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really
What a
good scam.
fucking scam.
Yeah, it was a good one.
How much did they want?
It was only like-
$900.
Yeah, it wasn't that
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that much.
Right.
And so we were like working on it while I'm like trying to find her and like calling around, trying to find people. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. So finally I did. Like, luckily, like 10 minutes before we sent the money, But anyway, so it was a stressful night.
Yeah.
And we were running off of a generator.
Yeah.
Like, not a real legit one, like a fucking
Gas powered?
Yeah.
gas powered fucking Home Depot generator.
Oh, shit.
And so we kept flipping breakers, right? That's what in Tampa. And so I was outside during the main event because I was watching the breakers because I was like, I can't have this shit go off during this fight.
Right.
So I just hear all this commotion. So I don't even see what the fuck happened.
Right.
I go in, AJ's sitting on the ground, right? Wagner's there, and Marcos is just standing there with his thumb up his ass.
Yeah.
And so I asked Evan, I was like, what happened? He's like, Wagner kicked AJ in the back off the stage. And I was like, all right. And so I just went up there, and I was like, you're all right? And he just kind of nodded at me.
AJ did.
AJ did.
Yeah.
And then I just said to both of them, I was just like, all right, I told y'all could go hard, but don't be dickheads or assholes or something about it. And like, to us, that was it.
Yeah.
Over. Like, had the match was awesome. Wagner wound up winning. Done. To me, that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video, obviously, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't know it. You know what I mean? It was bad. And
You thought-
hindsight, it
Thought it
probably
warranted a
was it.
DQ?
It was just, fuck. I wound up having to do it eventually. But.
Oh, you did DQ him?
Yeah, it was eventually, like, fucking after I declared it a no contest. And there's a lot I can't talk about because I'm still, like, in a litigation with this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
Sorry.
I'm, like, $30,000 into this fucking case because the head referee made false statements about me in a deposition, and which like really hurt my case. And there's a whole bunch that goes along with it.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
But it's been a shitty situation with that. But I mean, ever since then, it's just like getting robbed. Mm-hmm. We had to take precautions throughout. Now during the rules meeting, there's no striking of any kind. There's no this. There's no kicking off the cover fucking everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, we were only. I mean, I know we done 14 shows, but we were babies in that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we didn't know what we're doing. There's no commission in this. It tells you what to do. You just figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it was just one of those situations we had to figure out. Did I do the right thing by the fighters? I'd say yes and no. Letting the fight happen on that stage was safer than letting a fight happen in the parking lot.
Right.
And the thing I was more worried about was the fans. Because I felt like if I would have called it, then the fans would have lost their shit. And I mean, what if somebody would have got murdered in the parking lot?
Right.
I'm not kidding, dude. It was fucking hostile.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
Florida.
Yeah, so I mean, it was fucking crazy, dude.
Wow.
So it was just like there could have been fights. There could have been a brawl,
Right.
inside. There could have been one in the parking lot.
Did you guys have security?
Sometimes,
we
did at that event.
You did at that
yeah.
one. Okay.
But it wouldn't have mattered. What are 4 security officers going
Right.
to do when 800 people are fighting?
Exactly.
And so I made a snap decision to chill everything out, and the match went 10 minutes.
Right.
By the end of the night, I don't give a shit. Everybody left. Like, it was fucking done. I swear to God, everything was done.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, oh, it's cool. We're going to see this video, and it's going to go viral. And then it went viral, and then it became a shitstorm.
Right.
Afterwards, with defamation lawsuits and like all kinds of crazy shit that's come from it. But it was a situation that I don't think any promoter has probably, especially in jiu-jitsu, has ever been in.
Yeah.
And so we did the best with what we could at the time, and I still don't know what the right thing to do would have been.
Right.
I don't know, because the decision I made cost me a lot of money in court, and I paid for AJ's knee rehab because he tore his ACL when he fell.
Damn.
That was like $5,000. I paid for it out of my pocket, to help him out. And outside of that, nobody got shot. There weren't any fights in the crowd.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess I did make the right decision. But, I mean, it's a judgment call. It's the national anthem call. It's
Right.
what do you think? It's what would you have done? You don't know until you do it. So
Right.
just
No matter what you do, somebody always has some
No matter
shit
what.
to talk about.
No matter
it.
what. Yeah. There's no right or wrong at this stage. It's whatever you feel. Your feeling is that's the right decision. Then you do it.
Yeah, it was a tough one though. I mean, for sure, it was definitely the toughest thing that's happened to us in this industry so far. Yeah. That would definitely be number one. Let's talk about something else before I leave, so that's not what I end on.
Yeah,
it's like a really depressing topic for me.
Britt,
Yeah,
when are
I
you
cried a
fighting
lot.
next?
That was a sad time.
You caught me off guard. Well, I came in really fat for my last weekend, so I don't know. They said probably December to expect me back in the cage.
Nice.
How many MMA fights have you had?
As a pro, I have an awesome record of 3-4.
But she gets paid more than probably any regional.
I'm also
MMA
going
fighter.
against usually the top 5 girls. Like I don't usually, I don't fight tomato cans. I'm going against the top of the class. So I'm proud of what I've done in that. And
What
then,
weight class are you at?
Let's talk about your weight cut. That's a fun topic. We'll talk about how committed Brit Elkin is.
Because she hit those donuts as soon as she got in here today.
Because it's been a long
So I'm
year.
just wondering what's
It's been
going
a long
on.
year. I fight at 45.
Okay, 45.
And I walk around about 185. And
What?
then when
185 and you fight at 45.
So this is a good way to end, to talk about the mental toughness of someone on Team No Sleep.
So I honestly used to fight for Seth, and I have one of my most PTSDs on fights in one of his cages. I was going against LaToya Walker. I almost lost my eye, and I kind of took away from MMA for a minute. I fought 1 or 2 after it, but I was like, I don't know. And then he provided the jiu-jitsu stage, and I was like, this works perfect for me. I'm big. I don't have to go to 45 to be on a big production scene. I can be a natural, huge Amazon woman like I am, And then with fighting for him, I'd done 10 matches this year, but at that time, probably about 7. And so I was just we were doing 1 a week, 1 every 3 weeks at most, or whatever. And then Bellator called me, and everybody thinks that Seth got that for me, but Seth helped me so much. But they just called because I was on the stage. I was on my way to work. It was really funny. I put my dog down that day. He was an old dog, but you know what I mean. I had this really weird day. I was 10 minutes from walking into the bar for the night shift to close, and they're like, "Hey, is this Brit?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Do you want to take a fight in 3 weeks for Bellator?" And I said yes without even really thinking about it. I was 177, I think, when I was 177.
3 weeks, 21 days.
So I called Seth, and he did the negotiations, and he ran into them what I got to go through in 3 weeks. I hadn't sparred in over a year and a half. I hadn't even sparred. I just did only jiu-jitsu.
Just jiu-jitsu, right.
And then, so that second from that shift, I started cutting weight, and I cut 32 pounds in 3 weeks. And then I got, it's really funny because Missy's husband was in my corner. And then Valor, his coach, was in my corner. And then a guy that's not really big into Team No Sleep, but big in the community, Max, was in my corner. And Max and Valor were with me first, and I had cut the 32 pounds, right? I made it. I was 0.6, or I was 0.8 ounces away when we went and checked my weight that morning, and I had already died inside. I'm I don't fucking care anymore. I'm done. And when we went back up to the room, I was kind of crying, no tears, but crying, I'm I can't do this.
So we had this weird contract that I devised, and it was
because it was a short notice thing, and he was getting me money.
It was a short notice thing, and there were some issues behind it, and it wasn't enough money, in my opinion, for her to have to cut the weight. So I made it a large amount of money, much more, but she has to make the weight.
That was the deal. It was $1,000 fine if I didn't make weight.
$1,000 for half a pound. So because of how much money she was getting paid,
right.
And because we made them waive the drug test clause and
because I smoke pot
and a bunch of other stuff. So it was that was the main thing, and so we knew it. So we've been worried about this.
Well, we even said we're we already know you can fight and get through stuff, but the biggest fight is going to be the scale. When he was helping me,
it's the only thing that matters.
This is 10 minutes before I had to go close a bar. We were figuring this out in the parking lot, and then so anyway, we got my 2 corners were there, and then her husband was coming from a different area and a different time and showed up. And between the 3 of their superpowers that convinced my stubborn, huge body bitch girl not getting back in the tub, they got me back in the tub, and I cut off only 2 more ounces. I was dry. I was cramping up this. And then Max, the younger guy, he's like, should we suggest to cut off her hair? And I was like, that's genius. Cut off my hair.
Shut up.
So I used to have long hair, not as long as Missy's, but long hair. And I didn't even care at this point. I was like, I've fucking been through the murder world, and I just ripped my clothes off, was butt naked, and they chopped off my ponytail, and I made weight.
Wow.
You think about the people, it's like dudes that complain, like even when I do it, like, not to call somebody out, but like one of the best dudes in the world is Devontae Johnson is fighting for us in New York, and he was like bitching about having to cut like 3 pounds.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's one of the baddest dudes in the world.
Right.
But Brittany's like 33 pounds or something in 3 weeks. And then
It was rough.
And then
Jesus.
that's what this.
That's why her.
Show him the cut.
Yeah, this is hot. Hold on. Ready? I haven't even chopped it since. It's been like...
So hot.
It's been like... It's
Like you literally just chopped it with like
Yeah,
scissors.
It's grown,
Just-
but it's grown a lot since then.
Wow.
It was just like a little tiny nub.
I texted him.
commitment.
We're in a group chat,
Yeah.
So like before we did it, like I texted them, I'm going to look gay, and then I was like, what? They're like, what? And I'm like, chopping up all my hair.
You should do like the rose Nama.
Oh yeah, we
whatever.
know that.
Namajunas.
You should have shaved it. Just buzzed it.
That was the second step.
Yeah, that was right.
Yeah, we even said we're going thug roast status
Yeah,
because
thug
I was
roast.
like, okay, first of all, you live your dreams. You get offered a dream fight
Right.
to fight on the promotion. Bellator or UFC, whichever one it is, all of
Yeah.
us fighters are like, please call me.
Right,
You know,
right.
we already told our parents that they called like, you know, when we were white belts and they
Sure.
just haven't followed up. You know what I mean? And then so that was like, do I miss weight on my one chance where like, you know, that was my dream, you know, for a long time, or do I just go and like chop off my hair
Right.
and make it? And so everybody got to see me naked, and I'm pretty sure that they'll welcome me back.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Man. Oh, you know what? I just thought of it, but you know who passed away today? The Playboy guy.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner.
You Hefner?
Man. That's
All
it,
right,
91
Hugh.
years.
I'm glad I made you think of that.
I know. Well, you thought-
Obviously,
she's
with
like,
that hair.
I was naked, and everyone see me naked, so I was thinking naked. Oh yeah, women naked, Playboy. That's how I put those together.
Yeah.
I went there. Sorry.
Yeah,
He might have died a long time ago.
Yeah, we don't even know, right?
No one's seen that dude in years. Like they might have.
Yeah,
just
we were saying we
published
didn't
it.
know if we even thought his fingers could get hard anymore.
That's funny as shit.
What else you guys want to say? Seth, any shout outs, any sponsors, anything you want to plug? Anything
come to
around
all
the
the
corner
events.
that we should keep our eye out for?
What, tomorrow?
No,
No,
I mean,
anytime.
just Fight to Win Pro in general.
I mean, just keep watching on Flow Grappling. Keep supporting the events. You know, loyalty above all. You know, we appreciate all the support, especially that we get in Chicago. We love it coming out here. We're going to be coming out probably three to four times next year, at least 3 times as we travel across the country. And you know, it's exciting to see the people in Chicago really take to it so much, like they have. You know, and really support jiu-jitsu, and you know, hopefully we're helping the scene grow, and you know, just happy to be here.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Cool. Missy, anything?
I'm really a nice person. I really am.
Brett, anything coming up
Any
for you?
sponsors? Any MMA sponsors?
I'm just like thrilled to be a part of this team. Like, they're my sponsors right now, and they give me a lot of motivation, like, you know, uplifting feeling in life. So
Well, us at BJJT's sponsor.
oh yeah, BJJT's, BJ Nick.
Just roll, baby.
And just roll.
Yeah,
And
that's-
Pressure Geese. Damn it, I have sponsors. And Pressure Geese.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go.
Joel, yell something, bro.
Hi!
Tell the people you're not homeless.
I'm definitely not homeless.
Awesome.
All right, well, we really appreciate you guys doing the podcast, man, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night for sure.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. For more information about Grappler Union Podcast, you could visit us at our website at grapplerunion.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Grappler Union. Please like us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. And all of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel. Say what?
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to all that shit. You got to do another take, right?
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Biotropic Labs. Biotropic Labs is a company that makes its own natural and healthy custom formulated sports supplements. I tried them out. Paul has also tried them. We both like how we feel on them. It dramatically and positively improved our performance, allowing us to train and work out at a much higher level and with much more endurance. His products are built around a blood support and oxygen delivery. To learn more about their products, please visit him on the web at biotropiclabs.com. At checkout, use the promo code UNION10 to receive 10% off your order. Your order is also backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, zero-risk purchase. Again, that's biotropiclabs.com. Use the promo code UNION10 at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
This episode of the Grappler Union podcast is brought to you by BJJTees. Go to bjjtees.com, enter the promo code Grappler Union, and save 10% off all your jiu-jitsu apparel. Go to bjjtees.com today.
This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Strychnine Jiu-Jitsu, makers of vintage-inspired tees, hoodies, and rash guards. Go to strychnine.co, that's STRYCH9.co, and use the promo code UNION at checkout to receive 20% off your online order.